don't chase peace if it's built on lies. I don't dodge heat, I just hold my line. You can feel the room try to shut me down. I don't fade away, nah, I stand my ground. You said pick a side, I said show me proof. I don't need a crowd just to speak the truth. Pressure in the air, yeah, it pounds real loud. Doesn't make me fall, doesn't slow me down. I don't confuse calm with fear. I don't confuse loud with clear. If it gets uncomfortable, good, that's usually where it should. I don't step back when the room gets tense like that. I stay right here in the impact, breathing slow in the aftermath. Oh, I don't step back, let it shake, let it clash. When the noise finally collapses, you'll hear me calm intact. I don't pull away when the pressure snaps like that. I hold my place in the blowback, heartbeat low through the aftermath. I don't pull away, let it crack, let it crash. When the chaos finally collapses, I'm still steady, still intact. I've been called cold, I've been called unfair. Truth is heavy, not everyone bears. I don't swing first, I don't throw a fit, but I won't pretend I didn't see that shit. You want comfort, I want it clean. If it breaks when I ask, what do you mean? I don't fear friction, I use it to see what's real under pressure, what's actually. I don't confuse calm with fear. I don't confuse loud with clear. If it gets uncomfortable, good, that's usually where it should. I don't step back when the room gets tense like that. I stay right here in the impact, breathing slow.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another stream. So today we are going to be having some more React Slop. Yes, some more brain cells for us to lose. And let me give you guys this. There we go. There's a lot of videos for us to choose from right here. So, welcome back to the stream, Magnus. How are you doing? Ready to lose brain cells? Hell yeah. I'm always ready. Have my water bottle right here, and ready to tackle some of these videos, which I really don't know where to start. Like, actually, which one should we watch first? Should we start from the top? No one got weighted by the new gen gachas. But I think this is a react, so I really don't want to do like a react to a react video. That's not something I really want to do because it's hard to turn it into an actual video. Doing good. I'm also doing quite fine. I woke up early today, therefore I'm streaming early too. So let's watch this one. The state of Arknight's Antfield is shocking. Maybe we do the Saint YouTube one. Which one? This one? YouTube killed my channel? Why did YouTube kill your channel, I wonder? Ladies and gentleladies,
upon us over at this wonderful little website that you're probably watching this video on, YouTube. Because something big has occurred. A big monetization change, a big channel change that I feel like is really going to dramatically shake up the space. But in a lot of ways, I feel like it's a change that's both good and also bad.
Shake up the space? Like, why? Like, is this about the monetization change? From Holy Perfect Timing? Welcome. So So if this is about the monetization change, it doesn't change much, actually. Like, what's the change? Oh, now you need to meet double of the requirements to start getting paid by YouTube. And I think that's completely fine, because let's be honest, a channel with 500 subscribers that, even if they get double the views or triple or quadruple the views of their subs, so imagine they get like 2,000 views, like 1,000 views, like per video, and they post like once every 2 days. The amount of money that you make from ads doesn't even like come close to the minimum amount of money that you need to make to get paid by YouTube. So you need to make around, not around, you need to make a minimum of $70 for YouTube to actually pay you. If you don't reach that minimum, you will go like another month, and they will give you another month to reach that $70. If you don't meet the requirements, they will give you another month and another month, and it keeps like delaying your payment. So it doesn't really like affect the bottom line that much, because what would you get? You're going to get like 15-20 bucks a month, and it's going to take the amount of time it takes you to get to 70 bucks overall for you to get paid on YouTube would be more or less the amount of time and actual effort for you to get to 1,000 subs. So it doesn't really matter. Like, at the end of the day, you're missing out in like 20 bucks. Unless your channel is perpetually stuck at 500. If your channel is perpetually stuck at 500, I think you have bigger problems than like actually just getting paid, you know? Maybe you're not getting enough views, you're not getting enough attention to your channel, and that would translate to no money also. So at the end of the day, needing like double the requirements, it doesn't really matter much. Now, if we go like much further than this, if YouTube decides to make the minimum like 5,000 or 10,000 subs, that starts to get annoying, because at like 2,000, 3,000, you can more or less, if you get good amount of views, you can more or less reach the $70 like per month, so you can get paid. So that starts being a little bit annoying, but 1,000 is not that bad.
There's been a lot of garbage on YouTube. I think everyone can kind of tell. There's been a lot more.
The gift card's still there. Sort of like, yeah, if anyone from America tries to activate that card,
produced with AI editing, that is kind of like really dominating a lot of different spheres. It pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think that's Charlie. And some of you might be asking, changes flip.
So he's reacting to the penguin,
obviously.
So to Moist
I've received monthly payments from it since my career started. And I think let me just look up a couple of like basic information about my channel, just so I want to be able to describe, right, like and like kind of like have myself in line with what's going on here. Oh yeah, no, this is gonna piss people off. Just as
is there contradicting my God and Savior?
Like a 20 took me about 14 days to get monetized. Yeah, it took me about 14 days to get monetized. So I kind of speed ran that one. Yeah. I kind of speed ran that one. Yeah, May 8th, 2024. So yeah, like 14 days.
So he is like celebrating being
and
carried
beginning next
on
year,
YouTube.
they are doubling the viewership requirements for new creators to.
Yeah. Qualified public watch hours 8,000, and 1,000 subscribers. So I don't think that's that much. I don't think that's that much. Like, if you're getting less than this, like okay, 1,000 subscribers, maybe that's a bit much. Especially if you get a lot of views, but people don't really subscribe. But 8,000 public watch hours is not that crazy. Like a year? Like this is a year.
So yeah, I got 4,000.
It's not like a month type thing. It's in the last 12 months.
Hours and 1,000 subs within 14 days. Which is like pretty good, right? Most people would say that's like quite nice. Probably less than 14 days because I like had to submit my application, so it's more like 12, 11, something along those lines. But they are now doubling the number of public watch hours. You can probably get
So
into
for context,
sort of like viewpoint.
For context, in the last 28 days, I got 7.5k watch hours. So in 1 month, I was easily able to reach the minimum requirement, and I haven't been posting videos every day. And it's not like my content is super popular or anything.
Right, or the results, or really just like the personal take that I have to have during this situation.
And with around that much like watch hours, you get around the minimum payment requirement for YouTube. So it makes sense. It makes sense. So everything comes together to be like, okay, around 8,000 watch hours, it's more or less the same amount of watch hours or views that you need to get like the minimum payment for YouTube to pay you monthly. You know? So it makes perfect
have
sense.
Impacted me.
I personally don't really mind the new requirements for YouTube, because if you are like much or a lot below it, or if you are meeting the previous requirements, you're still not making like money at all from YouTube. Like
At all. Okay, maybe instead of taking 11 days to reach this, I would have taken like 20. Maybe 21 or 22, right? Maybe it would have taken me like a whole month to like get there, but that would have been me, right? That would have been like my history. Bucko deleted a lot of Genshin videos. A channel used to be a claim came from, but people are just making that shit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I know it's embarrassing. Sort of like the unfortunate result of that. This is not easy to get for a lot of people. This is not easy for people because
It's not supposed to be easy. It is not supposed to be easy.
there are individuals who have had YouTube accounts for like years, months, upload video, like hundreds of videos, tens of videos, whatever. And then they never end up actually reaching 8,000 qualified public watch hours. So what this is essentially doing.
Yeah, you don't end up reaching 8,000 watch hours. Do you know how much you are missing? You are missing around $70 in a year, in an entire year. If you, in an entire year, fail to reach 8,000 watch hours, you're basically missing on a whole, like, $70. Maybe even less. Because if you, in a year, have half of that, which was the previous requirement, I think, if I remember correctly, it's 4,000 watch hours. If I'm not wrong. So it's doubling, so that means it's probably 4,000. If you, in a year, were only able to reach 4,000 watch hours, you're getting around $40. You're losing on a whole $40 in an entire year. If you are working your ass off, like making streams, making videos, editing, publishing, interacting, trying to like get your channel out there, and you can barely reach 4,000, you're losing more on actually trying to make videos. If you actually go for a part-time job, you get that amount of money in a day. You know, you get that amount of money in a day. If you take that effort and you go for a part-time job for like half a day for that amount of money. Like, YouTube is not for everyone. It is not for everyone. For example, YouTube is not for me. I don't see myself being able to retire doing YouTube. Hell no. I will never get there. YouTube is a hobby. It always has been. Almost every single one of these like big YouTubers, especially back in the day, PewDiePie started it as a hobby. It was never a job. If you start YouTube like thinking, oh, this is going to be my job, I'm going to make this a career, you are very well mistaken. You are probably not going to make it. YouTube should be treated as a side thing, as a hobby, as a way to like interact with some people that you meet in the on the internet. For example, a lot of people that I have on my Discord that I play with, for example, Redom, I was playing yesterday with him. It was someone that I met through my channel, and he's now one of my mods. And he is a friend I made doing this channel. That's what you have to do on YouTube. YouTube was never meant to be a career. You can make a career out of it, but it shouldn't be your objective. It should not ever be your main objective. If it is your main objective, you're never going to make it. It's not Slop, at least when you compare this video to...
So doubling the
Garbage
watch
Wolf?
hours over a 12-month period that are required to enter the partner program.
So the shorts requirement is what I've said is, I haven't even commented on that. Bro, I don't even get 20 million shorts views in the last 90 days. I don't even know how people get that. And these are my shorts. Bro, I have shorts that like actually pop off. And I am nowhere close to that. That's like not even a thing. It's like not even a thing, bro. And like, I feel like my shorts are pretty good too. They don't, not even close. It's so much easier to get it via watch hours than it is by shorts. I don't even recommend anyone tries. I think, hey, just give up.
The shorts thing is to prevent the AI slop. It's to prevent the AI slop. And you don't even get, like, anything from shorts. Like, shorts views are counted differently, and they don't give you, like, nearly as much money.
Bro, there's no point. Do not even try that. You are fucked.
To enter the partner program. You have to hit one of the two, either getting the required eligible views, which is now 20 million shorts views, or
Impossible. Don't even go.
But I agree, 20 million shorts views is insane. Fucking dogs are at it again. I'll be right back. I'm going to close my door. There you go. But I agree, 20 million short views is quite insane, but shorts are a lot easier to get a high amount of views.
For shorts. I think what this has done is it's effectively turned shorts into like the most premium of the premium. If you're not getting like minimum like 200K on each upload, you're kind of fucked. Minimum 100, 200K on each upload.
or getting 8,000 watch hours on long-form content. Both of these have been doubled.
But yeah, 8,000 watch hours are a lot easier to get than 20 million views on shorts. Like, by far. This is right. Yeah, I absolutely agree with this.
From the previous requirement, which was 4K watch hours or 10 million shorts views in the given time period, which is 90 days for shorts, or 12 months for long.
Though 10 million isn't
the
easy
1,000
either.
subscriber requirement. So you have to hit 1,000 subscribers and then one of those two metric milestones there in order to.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But the thing is it's not going to impact, I guess, the people that were going to be successful anyways. Does that make sense? Because my story,
Yeah.
I led with...
Yeah. Like, if you are going... If you are growing either way, it's not going to impact you. I mean, he's right about that. Like, he is right about that. Like, if you're getting much less than that, if you're getting half of that, you're not going to be making money either way.
with it for a reason. Because I would not have faced any additional difficulties. I would not have faced any additional problems. Nothing would have been different.
Well, he's talking about himself. here. But I'm talking about the general people that are not reaching that. They are not missing out on much. Or basically anything.
Right? Nothing would have been different for me had I operated under all these platforms. But what about a bunch of other people in the gacha space? What about a bunch of just other creators in general? The barrier to entry got doubled, but the barrier wasn't high. But man, it was really hard for...
The barrier to entry is 0. Most people making videos on YouTube, especially on this space, are not making it as a job. They are making it as a hobby. And doing this as a hobby costs $0. It's not hard. It's literally not hard.
For a lot of people to even reach the barrier in the first place. And this is the unfortunate thing. And this is the thing that I'm just going to be telling people up
not
front.
everyone is like Saint, where he does this as a career. Because he's a loser. Most other people don't do this as a career. People do it for the love of the game. We're not getting paid much either way. So, I mean, I can even show you guys. Like, this is... Look, I'm going to show you, like, my content here. And you guys can see. 7,000 views, 2.2 thousand, 6,000, 5,000, 1,000, 9,000. This is the amount of views I get, and this is the amount of revenue, like estimated revenue that I get. So $9, $3, $12, 50 cents, $3, $11, like per video, right? Per video. Then if we go here to, where is it? Content. We go to analytics here. So estimated analytics. See more. But it's harder to see here. Oh, right. So if I go to like the last 365 days, I made around 185. Do you know how much money I have seen from YouTube up until now? Do you know how much money YouTube has paid me up until now? Do you know how much I have seen out of these $185? 0. I haven't gotten paid yet. Not a single cent of it. Like, not a single cent. And everything from here to here, like, most of it was for the love of the game. Like, most of it was for the love of the game. If you see here, last 365 days, I was able to get 1,000 views, 2,000 views, and whatnot. I was posting videos. I went a little bit without videos, but I was posting videos all through here. And I only started getting money at around this time. Like, and this amount of money for the amount of work that I did, it's absolutely not worth it. It's not worth it. Never in a billion years would I have the work that I have of editing videos and doing live streams and posting live streams if it wasn't for the love of the game. And I meet the minimum requirements right now. Like, I'm well over the minimum requirements. Like, the current minimum requirements. Anyone that was meeting the old minimum requirements is not getting like half of this. And I'm talking about the minimum requirements yearly. So 4,000 watch hours yearly. If I go here, like watch time in hours, I have 25,000 yearly watch hours. And this is the amount I get. Imagine what 4,000 gets you. Basically nothing. in a year. This is in a year. So it doesn't matter. People are doing this for the love of the game, not for the amount of money. The amount of money, when in comparison to the amount of work that you need to go through, it's not worth it. Ever. Ever. Even if the minimum requirements were like 1,000 watch hours, it's not worth it because the amount of money that you're going to be getting, it's negligible.
The guy that has lived in some ways, I'm just gonna be upfront here. There are probably some people out
Donations on YouTube also prayed, but you get 20% cut. You get 50%. I think it's a 50-50 on donations. Also, what's up everyone that just joined? I was looking at chat. What's up Ghost? What's up Mark? Who just joined. What's up Kuro? Or E6? How are you guys doing?
out there that believe, or they're under the impression that I am like living the dream job or like the dream career that they wish they could have. Just going up on stream and just like yelling about games or talking about them every single day and then uploading a bunch of videos, right? This is what I'll tell you as somebody that's currently living that life. I hope you're ready for this one. If you aren't reaching this in like a month or 2 months, you should probably just move on.
This is bullshit. This is complete bullshit that he's saying. And I'll explain why. I'm going to let him finish like his point, but what he's saying is complete bullshit and I have proof.
If you're not reaching this within a month or 2 months, you probably should be using your effort elsewhere. If your goal is to make it a career. If your goal is to make it a hobby, then just ignore what I'm saying because it's a fucking hobby. And like, great, you want to know what else you can do as a hobby? Lose money as a hobby. Go gambling, right? Anything can be a fucking hobby. So like, I don't think that's an argument over here. If it's a hobby, you don't even fucking care about making money. So why are you looking at this shit?
Obviously, this is true, and this is what I was saying about most people do this as a hobby, and well,
right.
It is.
Once you decide to focus and lock in on this actually being a revenue stream, and you're dedicating the resources, and this is the important part, you're dedicating the resources as if it's a revenue stream, and you're not getting.
I don't know how to type his name. Jinxie. Yeah. Do you know who this guy is? Do you know who this guy is? Do you guys have any idea who this guy is? We all know him? Yeah. So, this guy, he streamed. I don't know if it shows here. Let me do this. I don't know if it shows here. Short form content, blah blah blah. But Jinxie is one of those content creators that spent years streaming to one viewer. Jinxie is one of those creators that spent years streaming to one viewer. He started in 2020. I think it shows here, 2020. And he was a nobody. He was streaming to one viewer, and that one viewer was him. Because Twitch counts you as a viewer. So he was streaming for nobody. Until one day, he suddenly blows the fuck up. So never say that, oh, if you spend 1 month and you didn't reach this, then quit. Or if you go 2 months or a year doing this and you weren't able to get it, just quit. Just remember of Jinxie. Because he's the definition of never giving up.
Getting the results, you need to learn when to let go. Because this is the thing. If you're putting in the effort and you're not getting the results, there's only a certain amount of effort you're going to be able to put in before you're no longer able to put in that effort anymore. And I guess there's just a lot of individuals.
But here's the thing. He started as a fun thing to do, not a job. You're never going to succeed if all you want to do is get money on YouTube. Like, ever. Like, ever, 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 ever.
Individuals out there who are kind of like at the point where they're viewing it as like a way forward, but unfortunately, it's something that you also need to recognize you got to grind for as well. Because the more videos you put out, the more you're able to get views.
But if you're doing this as a job, if you're actually going about YouTube as a job, you need to make good content. For example, imagine you are a gardener, right? Imagine you are a gardener and you're trying to like get, and you are self-employed. You're trying to get contracted by like different people and companies and stuff like that to do their gardens, right? And and you get contracted by a person. Imagine you get contracted by a person. So that person, imagine it's a viewer watching your channel. Now that person didn't like the job you made. Like, it's sloppy. The video itself is low quality. Your microphone is bad. The way you present your content is bad. So the way you cut the trees, the way you cut the grass, you leave trash everywhere, that person isn't going to like your job. And now imagine this. Some other person that they know is going to be like, oh, I need a gardener. Do you recommend someone? Guess who they are not going to recommend? You. Obviously. But now, if you do a good job, you have good presentation, you have a good quality microphone, the video itself is high quality, the content that you are covering is of high quality, it's interesting, then guess what's going to happen? That person is going to share your video, is going to comment, is going to like it. The same way that a person that gets their grass cut and likes the job a lot is going to recommend you to other people. And then those other people are going to recommend to other people. And it's a snowball. It's the exact same thing that happens on YouTube. It's a snowball. The moment you start pumping out good videos and people start interacting and showing interest, it's a snowball. You just start growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. But for that, you need good content. You need to do a good job. Most of these people don't do a good job. They just don't. Most of these people getting like 5 views, 10 views, 20 views, they are just not good. The content is just bad. I'm sorry to tell you. But if you're getting 10, 20 views, I mean, sure, for the first couple of videos, I mean, alright, but if you're getting that amount of views, it just means that people are not interested. Maybe you yourself are not interesting enough. Maybe the video quality is not high enough and stuff like that. And this happens a lot with, for example, React content. People want to see people they already know, and they already know their personality and stuff like that, react to content. So they like know their takes on that specific type of content. But if no one knows you, no one is going to care. That's why I don't do like reacting to trailers anymore, reacting to character like music or stuff like that anymore, because no one gives a shit. And you need to understand what people want if you want to do this as a career, obviously.
Views, the more you're able to.
Hello from, how you doing? And exactly, streaming as well as YouTube should be a hobby first, absolutely. And if it goes well, it can become a full-time thing. Going to it like it's going to be your full-time job, it's just stupid. Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing that Saint Ontas is saying here, which I half agree, half disagree, like I agree with the core sentiment. I don't think he's wrong. Like, if you have been watching me for like any kind of time, you will know that I don't disagree with someone just because of their name. So I don't disagree with Saint just because he's Saint. I disagree with Saint because of the shit he says. But so here he's saying that if you're going to start this as a career, you're probably not going to be very lucky, which is true, but there's some nuance to it. Because, yes, you're not going to make it in like 1 or 2 months, but you can still make it. You can still get to it. That's what I'm trying to say with Jinxie. If you want to really do this as a career, it can still happen, even if it doesn't happen right away. But at the end, I agree that you should never start doing YouTube or streaming to like with the intention of making it a full-time job. That's just
sort of like
stupid.
build towards these markers. And there's a lot of people right now that are treating their YouTube channel, their video making, all of that as a full-time career, yet they're making
Well, you are treating it as a full-time
less than
career.
minimum wage. And there are some
That is
people
true.
that are working on these channels, these unmonetized ones, at the rate of a full-time job, and they're not even monetized yet. Those are the people that I'm saying. If you're not reaching this in like a month or 2 months at your highest output, do you think a couple more are going to help, or is it time to move on? Because I think this is YouTube kind of telling those people.
In YouTube and Twitch in general, you also need a sprinkle of luck. Like, sure, you need high quality content, but you also need that sprinkle of luck on top.
Maybe it is time to move on. But that's kind of like the human side of things, right? The really empathetic side of things. There's another side as well.
And I think a very largely overlooked reason behind this is, buckle your seatbelt, I know you're probably tired of me taking you on this wild ride here, AI.
Yeah, that's the other side, right? I said we were done with the human empathetic side. Now it's this.
YouTube is experiencing a flood, really a fucking pandemic, a plague of AI slop that is just truly infecting the platform with STDs, the likes of which you could never even fathom. And it is completely contaminated shorts. It is also really going...
There are people that are taking my scripts from videos, turning them into AI shorts, and then re-uploading them. There are people that be out here literally taking
I don't know about that.
videos,
Maybe
the
that's
summary-
true, but I haven't.
One
I
example,
don't watch shorts, so.
This guy just took all the info from my own team's video.
Sui Sui and Shiza, a really strong team with Sui Sui providing huge buffs, and Shiza applying negative status effects. But it isn't the most efficient for endgame, since it eats up.
These guys just take the
That's
scripts
surprising.
from my videos and then re-upload them with AI, bro. This guy did it too, except he went from instead of 5 teams, it's 3
Everyone
teams.
arguing about the best team and Wuthering Waves, but after analyzing the entire
Guys, it's everywhere, even for the gacha games. That's kind
Piled on every
Yep.
balloon.
I'm inclined to believe it. I'm inclined to believe it. Like people do that all the time to like other content creators. Why not do it for Saint? And his shorts are not. Saint shorts are not really that bad.
And the AI slop sometimes gets taken down, not always.
They're taking. Is it his channel got taken
They are just like about, oh, best teams, whatnot, blah blah blah. Like whatever.
down for AI because YouTube has brain damage. Part kind of right, but like I said,
What else? What else? Anything else? Still talking about this.
do you want me to show you the analytics of my shorts? I think I truly. This is where I think million below the requirement.
Yeah.
Because that's 9 minimum. You $100. That's really
And essentially claw their way to the requirements for the partnership program to
Yeah.
make money off it. But maybe it takes them too long. YouTube finds out and, smites them. I guess that's possible.
I really just think they should just do a more stringent review of whoever's entering, and if they're AI spamming stuff, just just ban their account.
Too.
Content like it really get too hard, but
What
it's
else?
like
This is about the whole AI thing. I think YouTube should control. I think it's
bro,
worth
let me
to
show
watch
you how much money shorts make.
more.
I'll just show you how much money they make. As a way, you were retarded in the first place.
Bro, he's still talking about like the analytics, like 30 minutes in. Whatever. I do think YouTube should start smiting the AI slop channels. Like AI voice, AI generated thumbnails, all put together, AI generated script, AI generated everything, even like the stories themselves are AI generated. Everything is AI generated. Like, I'm not against AI, like, as a helping tool. So if you use AI to like, so you come up with your own script, your own ideas and whatnot, and you're like, hey, ChatGPT, can you organize these ideas in a way, I don't know, I can talk about them in a video? Like, sure, I'm not against that. Or maybe, for example, as Zentreya does, which is not really AI, it's like a somewhat of a TTS. So it's voice to text to text to speech, which is not really AI. I'm completely fine with that. I'm fine with something like Nira-sama, which is a fully built AI, but it's, well, also the human is there interacting with the AI and making content and whatnot, and we get to see like some behind the scenes and stuff like that. I'm not against that either. What else? Using AI to help make the thumbnails. For example, I don't like fully made thumbnails which use AI. Let me see if I can find like one. I think it's like giga cringe, but using like some kind of AI to get like the thing that you want, I think that's completely fine. It's kind of what I do for my thumbnails. What else? AI voice is kind of cringe. And when you start putting all of these AI things together to make it fully automated, so you don't have a sprinkle of human touch on it, that's when it starts getting too much. That's too much, and there's a lot of YouTube channels that rely completely on AI to make content, and that's bad. They should get smited down and taken off from YouTube. It's like the Spider-Man and Iron Man thing. Like, what are you without the suit? Can you still make content without relying on AI? If the answer is yes, then you're fine. If the answer is no, then you should get smited off the platform. Like, if you're nothing without AI, then you shouldn't have it.
Repackaging those same episodes into like 1,000 videos.
that's just called being smart.
Millions of accounts and the AI is messy as fuck. Yeah. It won't work. It's like a Hydra. Is they use us for training their AI models? So I guess that's it for this one. I already said my opinion. We know Saint's opinion. It's not a crazy thing to say. I think he's mostly right on this. Like, if you're not getting these requirements, you're not losing out on much. And you should be doing YouTube as a hobby anyway. So it's not like it matters. You will eventually get there if your content is good. And when you get to this, the amount of money that you lost is going to be negligible. Because if you're not getting 8,000 watch hours in the last 12 months, you're losing on what? Like $10 on that entire year, which would be the equivalent of like these 8,000 or some shit like that. I don't know. So you're not losing much. Anyway, let's go to the next video, because I'm tired of looking at that face already. So let's do this. Close post. So what should we watch next? The retire clock is right twice a year. I mean, Saint is not always wrong. Like, he says a lot of retarded shit out of his mouth, but it's not like he's 100% always wrong, right? And that's the thing. That's how he keeps like his public, because he says mostly half truths. So he can always fall back onto like, oh, I meant this, not that, you know, when he gets called out. You can see like a video that I made about him, like explaining how he goes about like explaining his tactics on his videos, especially when it came to drama videos. Where is it? The Saint Tonta's playbook. He doesn't want anyone to know about this. So I explain literally everything he does during his video that you can literally trace back to every single one of them. You can literally take this video and trace back to every single one of Saint Tonta's videos, like from start to finish. He always does this, and that's his playbook. He always like follows it, and that's how he like tells half truths and shit. Like, I recommend watching this video. Anyway, Brad's Enfield video. Let's see. It's not this one. This one, Braxophone.
When you think of a good game, what do you think of? Maybe you think of The Witcher 3 or...
When I think of a good game, I think of immersion. I think of playing something and not realizing how much time has passed. A game where I forget that I'm playing a game. That's what I think of. So stuff like Elden Ring.
Or a game like Dark Souls 3, or maybe even Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe your favorite game of all time was Skyrim, or Minecraft, or maybe even an FPS game like Overwatch. Yep. Hey, it could be worse. At least it's not League. I certainly don't think of gacha games in the upper echelon of gaming history. Genshin Impact definitely made a mark, and converted a bunch of free-to-play gamers into daily Primogem wage slaves who are certain that visual novel storytelling is the best way to enjoy a game. Of course, Genshin Impact isn't the only game guilty guilty of this. Pretty much every gacha game out there, from Wuthering Waves to Epic 7, has dailies that they want you to do. I don't think anybody expected the daily grind to change with new gachas coming out, but there were certainly hopes of something different. Maybe
like his video was decent. What happened on Reddit? I have no idea. Something unrelated to gachas? I mean, sure. No one got the code? I don't know. No one said they activated the code, so I don't know if it's even up right now. Watch halfway and start saying shit to the point has been argumented over and over despite this video is made in good faith. But anyway, I'm going to take this out. There we go. Because I'm going to post the video anyway. So yeah.
More respectful of your time, but still have plenty of non-limited fun content to participate in. When Arknight's Enfield was announced, it appeared to be one of the most promising gacha games of all time. It's got what I'd consider to be the best looking character models in the genre, an existing IP to build off of for story and world building, and a combat system that's completely different from pre-existing mobile action RPG Slop. Despite these accolades, at the moment, Enfield appears to be a punching bag for the general gacha community, being a game touted as having the worst gacha system.
Well, it's the punching bag for the whole gacha community because it's different. People wanted another Genshin. People wanted another Wuthering Waves. And they got something different. And they hate it for it.
In history by some community members. And while that's objectively untrue, FGO exists, the gacha does feel terrible from a subjective standpoint. When comparing gacha data, Enfield's gacha system is actually slightly better than the new industry standard in terms of the odds of getting a rate-up character. The new industry standard being the Hoyoverse gacha system that every new 3D gacha bases their initial system off of, and hopefully expands upon. But with that said, the amount of pulls you can actually get in the game matters. And if
Good gacha falls flat if you don't actually get any pulls, that's true.
Enfield has less pulls available than the competition, the system instantly becomes worse. But realistically, what matters more is the fact that Enfield's gacha feels bad. Since the guaranteed pity is at 120 and you can lose 50/50s multiple times on the way there, they've created a system that feels genuinely terrible to players who are used to having a failsafe after losing their 50/50, which again, having that failsafe has been an industry standard for over 5 years now. Pulling on other 3D gachas versus Enfields after saving up pulls is...
It has not been standard. Like, it's the quote-unquote standard for these big gacha games. But it's not the gacha standard. Like, most gacha games that came out after Genshin don't have this system, brother. They don't have this system.
It's like if you just ran a mile and are looking for a nice glass of water. You're offered 2 glasses of water. One of them is normal.
Also, I'm kind of... I personally just like the Enfield system more. Not because it feels better, not because of anything like that. It's just because it's fucking different. Like, I'm tired. I'm generally tired and bored out of the normal Genshinized gacha slop system. You know?
Regular old water, and the other one has been infused with charcoal powder. Despite the charcoal water having antioxidants and technically being better for you than the regular water, it's going to feel awful to drink, and you're probably going to choose the regular water. It's simple, it's cozy, it's not over convoluted, it's easy, used to. That, and it's what we need to live, but we're to drink regularly, feel awful to drink, and you're probably going to choose the regular water. It's simple, it's cozy, it's not over convoluted, it's easy and refreshing. It feels nice to drink regular water because it's simple and it's what you're used to. That, and it's what we need to live, but we're kind of ignoring that with this analogy.
We're drinking too much water.
Drinking the charcoal water means that on the way down, you have to deal with the potential grittiness from the powder and off taste, and, well, you get what I mean. Nobody wants to drink water that looks like venom anyways. But despite the perceived problems with Enfield's gacha system and the fact that it does genuinely just feel bad to lose multiple 50-50s, how the game is perceived isn't as much of an issue as you might think. After all,
I
if
understand
Enfield
the
is a
analogy.
punching bag for the gacha community, Genshin Impact is a punching bag for all gamers everywhere. And despite that, the game is doing exceedingly well. Honkai Star Rail is in a similar boat. Anywhere you look on social media, there's likely some sort of hate campaign, but the game is still doing really well. I wish I could make $40 million on a bad month. Ultimately, a gacha system that's widely considered to be bad will stop some people from trying the game, but it won't kill the game entirely. The only thing that will kill a game is whether or not the game itself is actually fun to play. It's also the same reason boycotts on games don't really work. For every one person on social media who says a decision is bad and quits to boycott a game, there's 9 other people who don't like the decision who keep playing the game anyways because it's fun. And then there's also like 100 people who don't even know that there's a boycott happening or that people are even upset to begin with. So then that begs the question, what is happening with Enfield? Well, to understand Enfield's faults, we first have to understand what
Let's see
Enfield
what's
succeeds
actually
in.
happening.
So first off, the character designs are all incredibly well done. Arknights as an IP has some of the best character designs in all of gacha, and it reflects well in Enfield's designs as well. Many of the characters in it are absolutely beautiful, and players definitely want them. It's me. I'm players. I also think I might be in the...
So why does Enfield need a revival if it's doing well? That's what I don't get from Brank's video. I don't know. That's what we're going to find out.
minority opinion here, but I actually think Enfield's combat is fun. It's definitely hard to optimize because so much of your best damaging rotation is directly related to how many dodges you get and when enemies are defeated, but overall I think it's a really fresh take on gacha combat and I like it. In my opinion, at least, I also think that the world design of Enfield is very well done and stands out exceedingly well in a sea of gacha games that are all trying to copy Genshin Impact. Never mind the music being phenomenal, but the idea that you can industrial
I think from all these open world kind of gacha game thingies, Enfield is the most different one. Like, by a long shot. Like, the gameplay is different. The world itself feels different because of the amount of freedom that you have to build stuff and stuff like that. The grinding feels different because you have to grind the factory, not really like a random ass like domain, you know.
realize the world and make farming for characters and
the battle pass is different, the gacha is different, everything is different.
upgrades easier if you put in the time is a great
The
idea.
only thing
for a
that's
game
similar
where
is
both
that
do the same
it's
thing
a
over and
3D
over.
gacha
Arknights
game.
Enfield follows in the footsteps of OG Arknights and makes everything very easy to automate, so that if you put in the time to play the game and set up your automation, you no longer have to play the game. And this is where I think Enfield falls flat, because unlike other gacha games, Arknights Enfield respects your time too much. Okay, so now that we've let that sink in, let's talk about it. When you grind a character in Genshin Impact, you have to go around the open world to collect Ascension materials. It'll take you like 10 minutes to get everything if you're fast. Same deal in Wuthering Waves. Well, in Enfield, that's become hyper-optimized. Now it only
It's an
takes you
automation game. Yes, it is an automation game, but I think the automation gets done like too fast, because otherwise you would go too long without being able to, well, actually play the characters that you want optimally. So I think that's normal. Then you have the blueprints that make it like even faster, and we don't have enough endgame. So to make Enfield like better in terms of content is not adding more factory, which it would help for people that like messing around with the factory, sure, but it's to actually add a shitload of endgame modes, because story will get done fast and there's people that are going to skip it. Exploration will get done like relatively fast and there's people that don't care about it. So the only option that we have is actual end game content and good events. which is something that we are missing. They have been implementing a lot of endgame modes. Like we have Umbra, we have the Echoes of War, we have CC, and now we have like this one which collect coins and whatnot, which is not. It's more like an event. But we need a lot more if we want Antfield to have replayability. You need a shit lot more endgame. But that's true for pretty much every other gacha game. If you really want Genshin to have replayability, you need a shit lot more of endgame. Wuthering Waves is the same, right? Because the reason you log into WoWa, the reason you log into Genshin after you're done with the story and exploration, it's just to farm characters. And it's boring. It's boring as fuck. You do the same domain over and over. I'd rather not have to log into the game and not log into the game at all for 2 weeks or some shit like that and go play something else and have fun with something else than have it on the back of my mind like, oh, you have to log in because you still have to build this character because your artifacts or your echoes are dog shit. You know, I hate that. That's why I haven't farmed for a single echo set since like 2.6 in Wuthering Waves, and I refuse to farm echoes. I just refuse it because the system is just dog shit. Anyway, what you guys are saying? Currently, my biggest complaint about Enfield is the existence of the sanity use permits. Would love if they deleted them completely, just allowed us to do the double claim regardless. That's true. That's kind of bullshit they have that. I prefer this over WoW or Genshin, locking out the ability to level units behind new regions you can't access. True. I like the leveling up process
set up
of
everywhere,
Enfield.
and you can also grow the Ascension materials.
It's just
in your
like
ship
easier. There's
when you
more.
want to gear a character in Genshin, you have to grind
There's
out
more
artifact
options.
domains. This can take days, weeks, or even months to finish. I remember when a certain Geo set came out, I spent 4 weeks doing max refreshes on resin and spent 100 fragile resin on it, and I didn't even finish one usable set of it. Honkai Star Rail is the same. Wuthering Waves is similar, but it's much easier to get gear since you can technically farm infinitely for the right main stats on your gear.
Yeah, but it sucks ass because you don't never reach your guarantee. You don't have a, what's it called? I mean, Genshin has stat selectors, or I mean, substat rerollers. HSR, ZZZ all have substat rerollers. WoW doesn't have that, so it feels like ass. Also, the Wuthering Waves has a lot more substats than Genshin and the other games.
With Overworld dropping echoes,
So
even
it's
co-op,
harder
but it can still
to
take
get.
weeks at a time to get a good set. Now take Enfield. To gear your character, you need 2 things: actual gear and weapon essence. And to get gear, all you have to do is set up your factory and log out.
True.
That's it, you're done playing. The factory will produce the items that you need for gear, and you don't have to worry about rolling for substats or anything. Essences, on the other hand, do require you to use stamina, and they have RNG rolls. But there's items in the game that mitigate that significantly, and overall, you end up getting the perfect essence in like 2 to 3 days. Not accounting for the extra stamina the game basically shovels down your throat on a daily basis.
Yeah, they
Enfield
keep
cuts
throwing
down on
that
gear
at you.
grinds by months, literally months of saved time logging in daily to grind gear. You could argue you need to log in to spend your stock bills, but even then, it doesn't feel like that much of an incentive, especially since you get them so quickly. And setting up your factory for them isn't even hard to do. Ever since the game launched, you could go to Kyosten's channel and find a blueprint that hyper-optimizes your base builds to produce the maximum amount of the best item, and you could do it in seconds. So what does that leave to do in Enfield? Story? Dailies? Endgame? That's basically it. The only reason to log
Farming Overworld Echo is a negative for me. I mean, there's some people that like the grind, and I understand like liking farming echoes, but the leveling process is what's like fucking annoying. I mean, I used to play Black Desert, and I used to grind the same mob or the same spot of mobs, like do the rotation around the like that small area, like over and over and over and over and over again for hours to get like a little bit of XP. I think that's completely fine, but the leveling process is like the leveling up of Echoes is just painful. It's just fucking painful because the RNG is just so bad.
Logging to Enfield is to do the story, complete your dailies, and clear endgame. And yes, that is similar to every gacha game out there. But here's the main difference. Enfield allows players to optimize the ever-living heck out of their playtime with in-game tools. Farming items and gear for characters in a majority of cases just does not take that much time. It's an infinitesimally small portion of the game. Whereas in other 3D gacha games, farming for characters and their gear
farming
is
for characters is the core of the game. That's why Enfield needs a lot more endgame and a lot more things than the other games. Because leveling characters and like building them overall just takes like so little time in comparison to the other games that you just need a counterbalance. And right now, Enfield doesn't really have a counterbalance. So we need a lot more. Sure, you could say that we have like some endgame. Yes, we do, but we need a lot more to counterbalance the fact that leveling up characters and gearing them is just so easy
of the time spent in-game. And on top of that, Enfield's dailies are so minimal that players can complete them in about a minute or two. And as someone who's broken free of gacha FOMO, it doesn't even feel like dailies in Enfield are worth it. 80% of the game is already automated. The only thing I'm missing if I skip a day is a bit of premium currency and my daily stamina, which...
And the thing is, if you miss a daily in Enfield, it stacks up to 3. And then when you do a daily again, after not doing like for 3 days, you get extra Battle Pass EXP. You can see here, double.
Also can be stored for other days. What else is there to do? Well, their more recent limited time endgame mode, Contingency Contract, was a really great endgame mode as far as gacha is concerned. But in terms of boss mechanics, it does ultimately stay a DPS check, dodge the AoE endgame. There's no puzzle mechanics, no instant wipes if you don't perform the required task, and nothing to engage your brain while you do your rotation. This is an endgame everyone has already played, with the exception being that you get to pick your own debuff to make the fights fit more to your team. It's definitely more free-to-play friendly than other gachas, which means you don't need as many premium units, which is another reason you don't need to log in. Gacha games' entire formula is getting you to come back and play every day. They use FOMO, or fear of missing out, to get you to come back for limited time events with limited time rewards and daily quests to make sure that you play the game every single day for player metrics. Arknight's Enfield is the antithesis
no
of that,
wipe
and
mechanic
in a way,
as the
most
tentacle keeps smacking
consumer-friendly
up.
3D gacha game out there right now. It respects your time so much that people have stopped logging in favor of logging into the games that don't respect their time. Why? Because it just makes sense. Why would you play the game you could play anytime when a bunch of games are incentivizing you to give your time to them? Truth be told, 99% of the time the game you can play anytime is a better game. Usually they're not a gacha game. But it can't be 100% said to be true for Enfield, because despite Enfield having great character designs, an immersive world, and being incredibly fun when there's content, Enfield doesn't have much content that incentivizes players to come back. Now, this basically goes into a whole discussion about FOMO versus making content that's so fun people...
I mean, this is true. I would rather like my game to have little content and I just log in to like play that content and then like log out than the developers start making FOMO content. I'd rather have less content than FOMO content. And it doesn't seem like Enfield is going that route, since like the events we're getting are like permanent and they don't go away, like Umbra Monument, like the new coin collecting one and stuff like that. You know?
People choose to come back regardless of rewards. Gacha games rely on FOMO because most of them aren't consistently more fun than good non-gacha games like Slay the Spire, The Last of Us, Pokemon, Deadlock, Grand Blue...
True. So you're meaning to say that Enfield doesn't rely on FOMO and doesn't force you to log in every day because it is the better game? Agree, brother.
Fantasy Relink, you get the picture. Enfield isn't relying on FOMO as strongly as other gachas, which means they must rely on content being more fun than other games if they want players to come back. And
I mean, it's... Does Enfield have more fun content? I mean, when it has content, it does. But we need a lot more to compensate for the lack of, well, time that people spend on character building. It's just that we just need more content.
ultimately, that's why I argue that the gacha system isn't the reason that people aren't playing, because what's stopping people from coming back is that they don't have a good reason to. Now, Enfield devs are 100%
Didn't they say that the coin one was going to be permanent though?
aware of this, because they're more billionaires over there at Hypergriff, and they can definitely hire things like analysts. But ultimately, what's going to decide if Enfield is seen as a good game or gacha slop is going to depend on if they're willing to add fun, repetitive content.
Isn't
or if they add
Aknai got dailies, weapon RNG, artifact thingy? So, not really. You get a weapon, you get the essence thing, but you can select the stats you want from the stat selector, and when you farm, it only gives you essences with those stats, and it takes like a day or two at max with like spending your energy to get the essence you want, because it reduces the RNG by the shit ton. And then when leveling up, the stats are not RNG. There's no RNG stats when leveling up weapons, when leveling up gear, or when leveling up anything. It's all fixed. Everything is fixed. So everyone that has Rossi, for example, with her build at maxed out, with her weapon maxed out, is going to be doing the exact same damage. It's going to be having the exact same stats. Not one damage more, not one damage less. Exactly the same. Because there's absolutely no RNG. As for dailies, you get extra Battle Pass EXP if you miss a login. So it's kind of whatever. They're like, hey, you can miss a login or 2 or 3. So it's fine. Also, logging into a gacha game every day, that's just sad. I'm just saying. Just to do dailies, that's just sad. What else did you say? And sell for stocks. You can do that, but after some time, you're just not going to bother. For example, I haven't sold a single stock bill from Valley 4 since like the first month of playing. And it's come to a point where if I miss a day or two of selling stock bills, I'm not losing much. Because I just have so many. I already bought out the entire shop, and all that I need to buy is like the weekly resets thing, weekly reset thing, and even if I buy out the weekly things, I will still have a shitload of stock bills left over. So no, you don't need to sell those, like, at all.
More FOMO to compete with other games doing the same thing. I personally really like what Enfield is, but I like the idea of what Enfield could be even more. When I look at Star Rail in comparison, HSR has both Divergent Universe and Currency Wars, which are permanent non-endgame modes that are fun to play.
So basically, and how the way Enfield works is that you work towards an end. Right? You work towards an end. So you build your factory, you optimize stuff, you build your characters, and there's a finish line. There's a finish line. There comes a point where you say, I don't need this anymore. I've already done everything. I'm finished. That's what Antfield has that literally no other gacha game has. A finish line. That's why people don't like Antfield, because they reach that finish line and, well, there's nothing else to do other than wait for the next patch. Which I understand. That's why I say that we need a lot more like fun minigames, fun endgame, repeatable endgame, and so on and so forth. But there is a finish line. Meanwhile, all the other games, there's no finish line. You're perpetually farming for something. Like over and over and over and over again. You never finish. Like ever.
Enfield doesn't have anything like that to keep people playing even after they've done their dailies or completed their main daily FOMO tasks. Sure, Etch Space Salvage exists, but I don't really know anyone that's logging into Enfield for that specifically. The story for 1.4 was absolutely amazing as well, but it certainly isn't going to keep anyone repeatedly logging in. The story is basically a one and done until next patch.
True.
While their first, second, third, and fourth combat endgame events have all been fun, and I really like the mechanics of Echoes of War, by the way, by the 5th combat event, it gets kinda old. I'd personally love to see something that expands on the game's factory without blueprints being a 3-click option to basically bypass all of the difficulty. Some kind of factory or tower-based PvE or—
Yeah, or... Bro, that would be... You know what would be cool? Like, actually, just add a... What's it called? What's that mobile game that a lot of people play? Oh god, I forgot. Which you place like the little turrets and your minions, you know, and it spawns minions and whatnot. And it's like a tactical PvP game. Clash Royale or Clash of Clans. Yeah, imagine that, but in Arknight's Enfield, where you play against other players. We have the structures, we have the towers, and we have the little mobs. Like, why not? Why not? Right? That would be pretty cool. And what these games need is an actual PvP type, like, endgame mode. Because a PvP endgame mode is perpetual. Like, it never ends. Right? Just like NTE is adding the hide and seek game mode, like, permanently, I think that would be pretty cool. And I'm saying like a Clash of Clans type minigame, but it could be like something else, you know?
PvP mode could add a ton of replayability without having to rely on specific units, and it'd feel completely new. To be completely fair, Enfield is a relatively new gacha game, and it hasn't had nearly as much time to add new game modes. It suffers the same problem that a lot of modern MMOs do, where when a new MMO comes out, it doesn't have nearly as much content as the MMOs that have been running for 10 to 20 years.
That's true. This is why a lot of recent MMOs just die out. Like, most MMOs nowadays just die out like right at the beginning because people reach the end game and there's not enough end game or not as much end game as the other games they have been playing for 20 years.
Already.
I mean, it makes sense.
All the content, and now there's nothing left to do, and the only thing that can fix that new MMO is adding 10 more years of content. Other competing gachas have been out for years and have way more content for players to play through and enjoy, and Enfield has quite a bit of catching up to do. In Enfield's case, though, they have a very important decision to make on what direction they want to take the game, whether they want to make it more predatory to get more players, or if they want to attempt to innovate in the space and potentially risk not holding as many players in the name of making the game more fun overall. overall. And if they choose to innovate and make the game even more fun without adding other FOMO aspects to it, it could experience a full recovery and even
We'll see
a
what they're
massive
cooking this
increase in the
Friday.
amount of
Yeah,
players
I'll
actively
be
playing
watching
the
the
game.
stream.
But ultimately, while Enfield won't die off due to a lack of players, like many love to claim on their tribalistic mass misinformation campaigns, it's certainly coming up on a turning point that could decide the future for the game. Whether they decide to chase what's been proven to work over and over and introduce more FOMO and reasons to log in, or if they hunker down and commit to adding fun and engaging, repetitive content that will keep people coming back for more fun than FOMO.
I hope they do that. I hope they don't rely on FOMO, because it seems that they are not going to, from what I understand, from what I have seen, right? Because choosing to go with a factory was a decision, right? Choosing to go with a factory was a decision. The developers saw that a lot of people didn't like the factory aspect of the game, for example, and they still went with it because they have a vision. And I do believe that Enfield devs have a vision for the game and they know what they are doing. Now, does Enfield need to have the same level of success as something like Genshin? No. Do they need to make as much money as something like Genshin? No. Because Genshin and something like WoWa, they are made for a certain demographic. They are made for the normies, right? They are made for people that don't like video games. They are. They are made for people that don't like video games. For the normies. For the wider audience. That's what WoWa and Genshin is made for. Now, you can still like the game, obviously. I still play WoWa and I think the game is fine. But it's kind of like FIFA. You know FIFA? FIFA is a game for people that don't like games. Call of Duty is a game for people that don't like games. You know what I mean? Like, someone that only plays COD and FIFA are not going to like something like Elden Ring, for example. Are not going to like something like Final Fantasy. Are not going to like something like God of War. You know? Or the old God of War. People that like games can still like those type of games. People that like all those other games can still like Call of Duty and FIFA, obviously. But most of the people that only play COD and only play FIFA don't like other types of games. And the same applies here. Most of these people that play Genshin or WoWa, like exclusively, they don't really like video games. They like that specific one, and that's it. They are not a gamer. They just like that one video game. Okay? Do you want Enfield to be normie Slop? No. I don't want that. I don't want it. If people get filtered, so be it. It's going to be niche, but as long as Enfield is good at that specific niche and doesn't bend the knee, it's going to be successful. It just is. It's just like Souls games. Souls games are niche. Not many people like them because they are incredibly hard. But they are so good at that specific niche that they are successful either way. Like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro, so on and so forth. Like Bloodborne, you know? Because they are good. They don't need to bend the knee and branch themselves to fit the needs of the fucking normie mall. you know? And I think that's what Anfield needs to do. Genshin as a game can afford to have many game modes because whatever they do is gonna rack them money. Arknights still need to be on safe side. Still get footing. No, I don't think that's the case. I think Hypogriff needs to be smarter with their game modes and stuff like that. Not because they don't have like a good fan base. Anfield has a good fan base, or a good amount of people that like the game and play the game daily. Obviously, they're not as big as something like Genshin. They don't need to be. Genshin is just a behemoth of a game, and Anfield still makes a lot more money than most of these live service games that are out there. So they are fine, but they need to be more careful. I know this is going to sound bad, but they need to be more careful. Not because they don't have a solid fan base, but because that fan base can actually think by themselves. You know, that fan base doesn't just eat anything that is thrown at them. You know what I mean? The Arknights Anfield fan base can actually think. They just don't they don't just consume product and be excited for next product. And that's what I think. Fan base with standards? Yes. Because it's a fan base that was built on the game filtering all the brain dead people.
Making their gacha system more free to play to players will certainly entice a particular demographic into trying the game, but it certainly won't fix what's been broken this whole time. My name is Braxophone, and thanks for watching.
Okay, that was a good video. Let's go for the next one. Let me close this. What should we watch next? I mean, the coin minigame kinda show how skill issue the players are, to the point that they increase it to 30 minutes. Yeah. Kinda sad. I mean, if it's to trim the metal, like, who cares, right? More Saint? Hell no, bro. Oh, we already did the... we already talked about, like, the power creep stuff. Like, he's here.
53 seconds. 150.
He's still on this, like, shit,
3K.
You know?
Now we got this other team over here. This features a
As you can see,
1.0 unit. It actually has a 1.3 unit on it as well.
it has 3 1.0 units, 1 4-star character, and an AoE damage dealer, and bro is still talking about the single target DPS against a made-up boss. So he was, like...
I didn't see the video.
Reacting to this.
So this is the...
But it's basically the same shit over and over again. He keeps talking about this, and if we jump through the video, he's going to pull out the Twitch tracker or some shit like that. I don't even know what this is. He goes back here, still talking about the same shit.
And I can say this stuff because...
Back here
the
again.
mechanic's already in there. The baseline's already been set for you to get fucked in the ass as a player.
Yeah,
and that's why I made
yeah.
this video. Because it's just...
Well, that's... Let me see. Is bro going to pull out the Twitch tracker? Where is it? Oh, he didn't. That's a first. That's actually a first. Did bro not pull out the Twitch tracker and the pull counter?
this warning sign, this what I was saying, mentioned anywhere. This is the one that most people universally agree on, right? Like, is it? So you can see where parts of my confusion are coming from over here from this reaction. Cookie prefaces this entire crash out by saying he did not even watch my video.
I saw someone tweeting it.
But he saw someone tweeting about it. And this is the thing. I have
the roguelike mode in CBT is actually Rooted Realm, the coin one. So yeah, now people can see why they canned it.
That he's talking about. Is someone talking about meta or power creep in a gacha game?
Here. Who do you think will believe the most? Blah blah blah. Play who actually played the game. And a lol cow. A lol cow. But anyway, I'm not watching this because I already talked about the power creep stuff and I already have a video on it. So let's talk about something else. Can we see like this one? Did NTE just copy Wuthering Waves? I'm actually curious because I have my own opinion on it because let me see. Wuthering Waves, NTE, copy, whatever. Let's see if it shows. So Sento just posted this shit. Where is it? Is there like a actual video like comparison? Let me see. Do you guys have the actual comparison between Zanko's and Camellia that I can watch like side to side? The unique one is technical test, which is before alpha, but I already have subthread and field on why it's not that good. Pointless, they don't even look alike. Camellia, Zanko. Here. Is this it? Let me see. So, Zanko. Yeah. Then it activates again. And it sends a slash. Okay. And so the pose is completely different. So if we see here, oh shit. If we see here and we compare it like side to side, okay, let's compare it side to side, right? Let me do this 1080p. 1080p, so we can see it, right? And it's side to side here. Let's actually see. So, hand up with one hand, and Zanko here actually uses two hands. And the sword is to the side. Two hands and the sword is to the side. So I don't know what the similarity is. And then you have like the impact frames, but that's literally just how impact frames are made. And here is like giga fast also. There's like not even a second of the black and white impact frames. Wuthering Waves is a whole segment of black and white. Then we have Camellia, right? Where's Camellia? Does it not even show Camellia? It doesn't even show Camellia. Now let's watch where they both copied from. Where is it? Let's watch what they both copied from. Who the fuck? Who the fuck said that Zanko copied Cartathea, bro? They actually deserve to go to a mental institute. I'm not even joking. So, that's the context. That's the context. People are saying that people copied, that Zanko copied Cartathea, and they also copied Chameleon. Right? They also copied Chameleon. But what they are forgetting is that if we go to Gacha Gaming, let me see if I can find it. Because I sent a GIF up here. Where did I send? Here. Are people forgetting about this? People said that, oh, it's copying Camellia because of the flower. Are people forgetting about Melania? And the attack that she does with the flower thingy? Did people completely forget about that, or is Wuthering Waves the only game they fucking play? And this is not the only use of this like flower thingy. It's all over media. Also, the rope dancing. Did Camellia invent this? Did Camellia invent this? Did she? I don't think so. I don't think so. So just because Zanko uses a little bit of rope dancing with a flower explosion and impact frames on a sword drop, it means that it copied 99.9% of Wuthering Waves. No.
Stealing someone's
So
work
that's
and
the
claiming
context.
it as yours. Inspiration. Taking a look at someone's work and creating something new derived from it. With the recent Neverness to Everness, Wuthering Waves, and kinda honky star rail, controversy about NTE's new
Some
character
people need to go
Zanko,
to school
I
from
wanted
time
to
to
take the
time.
chance to
Yeah.
talk about
And
NTE's
even
complete
if they
inspiring itself
copied,
pattern with Wuthering Waves,
quote
how the
unquote,
whole
it would still like be more like an inspiration. We don't know if it's actually inspired in Wuwa or if it's inspired in something else. Other media has used this before.
First started. Why are people so mad about it since Wuthering Waves does it as well? And of course my opinion about it.
Wait, what?
Why are people inspiring itself pattern with Wuthering
What's
Waves?
this?
How the whole controversy started? Why are people
What's the game down there?
so mad about it since Wuthering Waves does it as well? And of course my opinion about it. Hello everyone! First thing first, despite anything I or anyone else tells you, if you enjoy any game I will mention in this video, continue enjoying them. My goal absolutely isn't to tell you that you cannot enjoy any of those games. Also, you have put a lot of work and time into this video,
Probably.
so I
don't
would
know.
really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to not miss any other of my content. Here are the timestamps for anyone interested, but I would suggest to watch the whole video for the full context. And now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Zanko is the newly announced character for Neverness to Everness. And as a lot of people notice, their animations strike a lot of similarities to 3 other character animations. Camellia from Wuthering Waves, Kertetia from Wuthering Waves, and Mortenax Blade from Honkai Star Rail. To dissect this argument from both sides a little, some people claim that it was just an inspiration, while others accuse NTE of bluntly copying other games. But one thing I think we can all agree is that they were at least somewhat inspired by them. And what I want to do is to take a closer look at each character one by one in comparison to Zanko. Starting with Camellia. While there is many other characters that fight alongside wine-like ropes and use them to carry themselves, such as Promia from Zenless Zone Zero. I mean, they're not vines, but bear with me. Or even Flora from Wings Club Reboot, for example. Okay, Flora only has them in her
What the fuck? She using Winx as an example?
transformation sequence, actually. But it doesn't matter in this context. They each take pretty unique poses during those animations. It's very likely you could recognize them just by their silhouettes. The problem with Camellia and Zanko is that if I were to show you this silhouette of just a body, it's basically impossible to tell which one it is. Like, there is only a small difference in their torso area, one is more arched. The fact that the character also uses similar colors
This is a standard pose.
scheme during her attacks, as Camellia doesn't help either. There also do this
Also,
example.
let me check something.
If they're unique,
I mean, sure.
the problem basically impossible to tell which one it is. Like, there is only a small difference in their torso area, one is more arched. The fact that the character also uses similar color scheme during her attacks, as Camellia, doesn't help either. When it comes to the Cartetia situation, the impact frames and the timing of the animation look similar, but I think I would have easily classified it as just an inspiration. And I
It's
think
called
if some
knee
of Zanko's
hanging.
animation weren't as similar to Camellia, much more people wouldn't bat an eye on that. When it comes to Mortenax Blade, I have kinda similar thoughts. The slash his burst leaves on the ground burst in very similar manner. The colors are similar, although Blade also has
I mean, guys, don't you know that Hoyo Games has created craters? Didn't you know that Wuthering Waves invented rope dancing? Didn't you know?
hints of blue in it. He
God
also has
damn,
spider
bro.
lilies in the place where the ground got shattered. Zanko leaves behind rock-like structures instead. It definitely has some similarities, but I feel like people would have also just think about it as just an inspiration if not for Camellia. I think both Cartetia and Blade were okay utilized as an inspiration. You can see both the similarities and the differences between those characters. But in Camellia's case, it's very hard not to look at it and just think, oh, Camellia 2.0, since they have taken their animations, kind of fighting style, and haven't really altered it all that much. And like I said, the colors. Which is hard to overlook when they have already been accused of copying Wuthering Waves. One of the first thing ever that NTE got accused
That
of very
ground
heavily
trailing slash
inspiring
is something
was
I've
combat.
seen in Snowbreak. Scoping Exist doesn't stand. It's... Nothing is original anymore. Right? Like, literally nothing is original anymore. If you squint hard enough, everything looks like something else. Like, always. It is what it is.
But let's be honest, it was never that big of a deal. It still had multiple differences to Wuthering Waves, no outro skills, I believe, elements having reactions with each other. The general feel might have been similar, but we never should have been even close to calling it a copy. Then we got the Changlin Qiao copy situation in which the main character had similar basic attacks to him. To be fair, the first and second attack differs from Changlin Qiao, yet the rest, especially at first glance, look very similar. They're not the same though.
I mean, they have the same number of attacks, but where one does a kick, the other does like a punch, and the only similar is like the only like actually like pretty close thing is like the ending bang, you know? Like, let me see. Let me see if I can find it.
They're not the same. Changlin
Like it does a down kick and she does a downwards like overhead kick. And you can see it like throughout the whole animation. Let me see. Here he does a punch and she does a kick, for example, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, because of the timing of the attacks is so similar, it does look like it's a copy. But when you look at when you pay attention to the actual animations, you see that it doesn't look anything
From
alike.
Chang Liao, yet the rest, especially at first glance, look very similar.
What's up,
They're not
Baru?
the same though. The kick is done with different leg and different angle. NT's main character in the fourth attack uses legs, while Chang Linkiao uses hands. And in the fifth, both do drop kick but land differently on the ground. Yeah, and I'm not defending the sixth one. So while they both look similar, which I won't deny, when you take a closer look at their animations, they're not the same, and there is one bigger problem in comparing those two anyway. Chang Linkiao was released at September 7, 2024, and in Tower of Fantasy there is a character with similar attack string to NT's MC, which then we also should include in this discussion since they were released in 2022. And of course Tower of Fantasy and NT share the same studio, Hoto Studio. So even if they would to copy something one to one, it wouldn't.
Oh my god! Wooden Waves copied Tower of Fantasy? Nah, bro. Nah. They can't defend this, bro. They cannot defend this. Straight up, so you're telling me that Xiang Liao actually copied Tower of Fantasy? Damn, bro. That's a big ass lore drop right there. That's a giant nuke that she just dropped. Like, damn. Like, caught, bro. Caught.
Be stealing. But Wuthering Waves is from Kuro, so obviously different development team. And like, don't get me wrong, I actually
Too
think
bad
that in
it-
both of these cases,
Yeah, bro. Within Waves copying Pokemon from Nintendo, bro. Like, oh damn.
at most call it an inspiration, because of the differences in animations. But Kuro isn't morally clean company when it comes to copying homework. Just like I think any other gacha game, but yeah. Just keep it in mind for now. Yet there is
I mean, no
one
game
more
is.
thing that I personally got annoyed when I first saw it. When my friend showed me that,
I mean, isn't Galbraina just like a mix of Dante's or not Dante's, Dante and
I was in disbelief. The thing I am talking about is of course Fraxidus! Not this one. I mean the other one! Fraxidus! Not only this organization is called basically the same, they share the
Fraxidus is the name of a guy, not the name of the organization, by the way.
same color schemes. Both of them have one character that is clapping when appearing. And also both of these organizations appear out of like star-like looking sphere. Which yeah, neither of those
Galbraina
things
is a
were
low
invented by
afterthought.
Wuthering Waves. Except the
I
name,
don't
I
know.
guess. Even Genshin in 1.0 had one of the shade come out of star-like red sphere. But it's the combination of everything that makes it so off-putting. It sounds like we will copy that but make it different enough to not get a lawsuit. If I wanted to
Okay, this one is giga similar. I cannot defend this one. This one is straight up like we're going to do. They saw it in Wuwa and they're like, "This is cool. Let's put it in our game."
if
Kind of
Fraxidus, I
deal.
would play my Fulova in Wuthering Waves. Which is also pretty ironic that one of the accused
But Wuwa is not the first one to do this, and they are not the last to do this.
character of copying is member of this organization. And even if you don't think it's a copy, but an inspiration,
But Fraxidus is the name of a person in NTE and not the name of the organization, by the way.
you should at least admit that it's weird. If most of the game needs to be defended as an inspiration, then isn't it kinda unoriginal? Okay, maybe most is an overstatement, but you know what I mean. And let's be honest, people probably wouldn't care as much if it was one time. But Fraxidus and Camellia comparison are hella weird! And it's two, which makes it more than one.
All games
And I might
copied
be
the first ever video game. True. Is she Italian? I don't
A
know.
bit of my personal feelings show now, But like I said, if I wanted to play WoWa, I would have played WoWa. And if the game won't find its own personality, I would have feared that it might get overshown by other releases. Sooner or later we're going to get Ananta and Vangue, which from what I've seen, they seem to have much more personal touches to the game. And of course there is some merit in saying that if the game copies something good enough, or even better than its original, then it's not really a problem. Genshin was at first anime Zelda, Honkai Star...
Yeah, I think that copying by itself, or like taking heavily getting inspiration on something else is not a problem. Like, for example, there are games that are just straight up rip-offs. Like, a straight up rip-off is not the same as getting inspiration or like, yeah, it's not the same as getting inspiration from another game, right? You could tell, like, the way that they did the introduction of the thingy here, what's it called? The way they did this, it was inspired, right? But it's not a straight up ripoff. If it was a straight up ripoff, they would have the same characters, have the same effects, like they did with Genshin. Like, Genshin had a lot of straight up rip-off games, and none of them took off, because they are rip-offs, right? But Genshin, the definition of, like, copying was what Genshin had it done to their game. There's a lot of, like, Genshin actual clones. Like, they would take pictures of Mondstadt and put it in their game as, like, advertisement, and just change up, like, the character and sell it to people. That's a copy. That's a ripoff. You know, this is
Ananta
like
and Vangue, which from what I've
not
seen,
even close
they
to that.
seem to have much more personal touches to the game. And of course there is some merit in saying that if the game copies something good enough, or even better than its original, then it's not really a problem. Genshin was at first anime Zelda, Honkai Star Rail was at first just another Honkai game, Wuthering Waves was at first so-called Genshin Killer, but the difference is that all of those games shown that they have a lot of personality to them. Zelda, from what I know, doesn't have elemental reactions and doesn't have gambling. Wuthering Waves is post-apocalyptic world, which Genshin isn't, and Honkai Star Rail has Himeko Alive, which Honkai Sherde doesn't. Currently, Neverness to Everness is the only released game that we call anime GTA, but the same things are said about Ananta or Vanyungwe, and the real question is where the mechanics and stories will differ. Currently, it's pretty hard for me to put what will make NT unique compared to them, which doesn't necessarily mean the game will die or anything.
What? Let me go
What
back.
I know doesn't have elemental reactions and doesn't have gambling. Zelda, from what I know, all of those games shown that they have a lot of personality to them.
Wait.
Zelda, from what I know, doesn't have, which Genshin isn't, and Honkai Star Rail has Himeko Alive, which Honkai Sherde doesn't. Currently, Neverness to Everness is the only.
Okay, guys, this is incredibly. This is giga funny. Not because she's saying anything wrong. She's not saying anything wrong, and I agree with her. I think she's completely right. This video has been like, I mean, I don't really disagree with anything she's saying in this video. It's a good video. But I don't know if you guys noticed, but she mentioned like, oh, Genshin is just another Zelda, HSR is another Honkai game, you know, Wuthering Waves is just a Genshin killer. But then proceeded to say like, oh, but Genshin, but Zelda doesn't have like elemental reactions and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But she didn't mention like the Wuthering Waves counterpart. So does that mean that Wuthering Waves is still just a Genshin killer? Because it's basically Genshin, but like a little bit better. But anyway, let's not read much into it.
Anime GTA, But the same things are said
I
about
mean, I just think it's funny because maybe she just couldn't come up with anything original that Wuthering Waves does. Because I don't think Wuthering Waves does anything originally. Like, there's no originality to Wuthering Waves. Everything that you can find in Wuthering Waves, you can find in other games. The thing is that Wuthering Waves is just, like, good at everything. Like, it's not the best at any specific thing, but it's just good at everything. Like, the combat is good, the story is good, the presentation is good, like, the aesthetic is good, and so on and so forth. Like, the characters are good, but no single thing is the best. You know, that's why WoWA doesn't really stand apart from all these games, because it's just, like, average.
or Vanyungwe, and the real question is where the mechanics and stories will differ. Currently, it's pretty hard for me to put what will make NT unique compared to them, which doesn't necessarily mean the game will die or anything.
I mean, they have something original. The game can't run on your PC. That's the difference that they have. Heard that Kuro wanted to patent the summoning of a motorcycle. They failed because it turned out that others had it too. They did? The thing is, you cannot patent a action in a video game. Like, you cannot patent something that's so general. You cannot patent that. Like, you can patent your code. That you can patent. No, you can patent the code. You cannot patent the action itself. Like, Nintendo can patent the code that they use to do, like, the Pokemon capturing thing. But they cannot patent the action of capturing some animal on a ball. They cannot. They cannot. But they can patent the code. They cannot use the same code that they've used, so that people don't rip it off. You have to kind of reinvent the wheel to do that. You know? They can patent anything. They cannot. They cannot.
It's pretty hard to kill a game. But it might get left behind, which would have been just kinda sad for people enjoying it. Also, defending game you like is one thing. And I very much understand it, cause yeah, I'm gonna defend Silver Palace probably no matter what they do. But we should also have high expectations from the developers and communicate it to them. And by the way, feedback isn't "this is a slop" if you can't give arguments as to why. And neither is "this game is the best" without arguments. One of the ways people deflect critique of NTS copies, or inspiration situation if you wanna call it that, is bringing up that other guys.
Because otherwise, originality would fucking die in video games.
Gacha games copies too. The most prominent being WoWA copying Tower of Fantasy animations that we're gonna go over, or at least the ones that I know about, and I found, cause I might have missed something. And if I did, feel free to let me know in the comments. Jinxi's and
Are you live?
Briefing Dragons,
well, because I can.
And to be honest, I would have classified this as just an inspiration because of different angles, colors. Camellia.
Patent Troll says otherwise. You can patent anything. You can patent anything, but when in relation to, like, the way you do it. For example, you can patent a coffee machine, but you can only patent, like, the way that you build your coffee machine. So the parts, no one can build a coffee machine that uses, like, the same architecture or the same mechanism as yours. No one can do that. But other people can still make coffee machines. They just can't use yours as a reference. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, you can patent a engine, for example, for a car. So no one else can use the same style of engine as you, but they can still make an engine, for example. You can patent I don't know, motorbike, but doesn't mean that other people cannot make bikes. They just cannot make the same exact bike as you, you know? You can pattern, I don't know, you can pattern like a shoe sole, like the sole of your shoe, but doesn't mean that other people can't make like shoe soles. It just means they cannot use the same pattern as you, you know? You know what I mean? Like, you can pattern anything. That doesn't stop people from doing the exact same thing, but like different. It's the same with video games. You can pattern the code for summoning echoes. You can pattern the code for the intro skill and outro skill. You cannot stop other people from doing the exact same thing, but using different code, you know? Nespresso and its coffee capsule? Exactly. Like, you can patent that so that other people cannot make that, but you can still make capsules for other machines, you know?
Yeah, who this drama is really about, also got taken
Otherwise, like,
from
no
another
one
Tower
would
of
be
Fantasy
able to
character,
do anything
Umi to be
anymore.
precise. As you can see, they share similar concepts, motifs, colors, but despite that, I find myself much less annoyed at Wuthering Waves taking inspiration, in this case in comparison to Neverness to Everness. As you can also probably see, Umi and Camellia doesn't actually have any attacks that look one-to-one. Of course, Camellia probably took heavy inspiration from Umi, but saying it's a copy is a big overstatement in my opinion. Just like comparing Mortenax's Blade or Cartetia to Zanko. On the contrary, Zanko, while taking inspiration from Camellia, takes on identical pose, which in my opinion and everything I mentioned in the first part of this video makes it much more worse in my eyes. There is also very similar traversal mechanic that Alice and Shorekeeper has with the butterflies, which to be honest I will
so
leave
it is
up
Tower
to you
Fantasy?
to judge, because I don't really have strong opinion about it, but still the most off-putting one would be Lance Phoenix attack and Changli's one. Not only does it look
Damn.
very similar, but once again the color schemes, both ladies having
Which one came out first? Which character came out first?
an umbrella, and both being
I would
fire.
assume Tower of
There
Fantasy,
also was
right?
attack with the new Wuthering Waves character, and these characters attack resembling one character from ZZ, but while they look similar, the ones people talk about are very much present in different media such as anime, so if the inspiration
Brother. No, you don't understand, guys. Guys, you don't understand. Like, it's not copying. Wuthering Waves is not copying, bro. Like, absolutely not. If this, they are taking inspiration. It's like, it's a good thing, right? They're taking inspiration from other games. You should be happy that they are willing to reference your favorite game, bro. It's absolutely fine. This is not copying. Look, it's just similar. What, did Hoyo invent like sword rain? I don't think so, right? Therefore, it's completely fine. But Neverness to Everness, now that's copying, bro.
was taken, I'm inclined to believe that it was
What was because those designs thousands of years ago.
also from there, and people kind of overblown it. Same with Galbrena. This is direct inspiration from protagonists from Devil May Cry, like Dante and Nero,
Yeah.
which Kuro in their other game, Punishing Grey Raven,
Oh, look
had
at that.
collaboration with. So in this case, even copying some moves I feel like is acceptable. The company seems to like each other and it was probably discussed between them. Galbrena also takes inspiration from Bayonetta, which was created by
And here's the thing. These developers probably have connections to each other. Do you really think that the Kuro devs don't have like friends or contacts with like Hoyo or Hypogryph? Do you really think that? Like, they all know each other. They all do. If the Kuro CEO if Kuro CEO knows Shift Up CEO, what makes you think they wouldn't know their neighbor? Shift Up is Korean, Kuro is Chinese, and they have met each other. Their games are not even similar, like, at all. At all. And they have met each other. What makes people think that these developers don't know each other and maybe they give the green light to like, hey, can I use this? Are we going to get in legal trouble? And maybe they're like, no, you're free to use it. I give the thumbs up. It's okay. Maybe that's happening. We don't know what's going on inside the studios, right? It's the exact same thing with Ananta. For example, Ananta had a lot of like controversy with like, oh, it's copying this, it's copying Spider-Man, it's copying that, you know? But Ananta the Ananta trailer was published on the Sony channels. Sony, that is basically PlayStation. The same PlayStation that makes Spider-Man. The same Sony that makes Spider-Man and that makes all these other or that owns all these other studios that makes these exclusive games for PlayStation, like Uncharted. So what makes people think that Sony didn't give the thumbs up for them to use all of that? Maybe they are even helping them with those features, for example. Like, a lot of this, like, people don't know, but a lot of this, like, might be happening behind the scenes. You know?
By the same person responsible for Devil May Cry, Hideki Kamiya. So complaining that Kuro took very close inspiration from person they collaborating with is making problem out of nothing. And finally we have arrived at conclusion of my little yap session. So from my little educational session we can conclude that all gacha games steal from one another. Neverness to Everness stole or took very heavy inspiration from Wuthering Waves, that have also taken a lot of heavy inspiration from Tower of Fantasy, which by the way doesn't justify Neverness to Everness behavior. It explains it, but explaining and justifying are two different things. Like I said, Wuthering Waves isn't all clean in this situation. But stealing from a thief doesn't make you less of a thief. And I believe we should judge both of these companies for their actions. And once again,
I think they are both fine. I think Wuthering Waves taking inspiration or quote-unquote copying from Tower of Fantasy and NTE, like quote-unquote copying from Wuthering Waves, I think it's completely fine. Like I said, these companies, devs, probably know each other. They probably reference each other like all of the time, especially Genshin and stuff like that. Genshin, Wuwa, Hypergriff, Hoyokuro, Hypergriff, and I forget what NT studio is called. I forgot. All of those, they probably know each other. They reference each other all the time. It's fine. It's fine if the end product is good. Hotta Studio, yeah. If the end product is good, if the end product is fun, why do people care? Why do people care?
and it doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy these games. Because it's not my point. But telling companies, for example, through the surveys that they all send to players, that we would prefer them not stealing from one another is always an option. Or maybe since both of these companies seem to steal from one another, we shouldn't care? Because there is little point in proving which
robots care. They care because they can just farm it for content, obviously. It's not that they personally don't. Like, why would you care? Why would you care if it's a game that you don't even play? Are they afraid that NTE is going to take Wuwa's place because they copied like one move or one scene? Like, brother, what? Are they that insecure about their own game? Do they have nothing better to do? Like, goddamn. Also, small channel coming up,
Plagiarism.
which is Jungi here. I know there's a lot of people in the chat right now. Don't forget to go there, leave a like on the video. It's a pretty good video. Pretty high quality, decently edited and stuff like that. That's pretty good. She has joined YouTube like not long ago. I already see a lot of people that have been in my chat here commenting. But if you liked the video I reacted to, go there, like it, and maybe subscribe to her channel. She's a growing YouTuber in the space. So yeah.
Plagiarism. In simple words, an act of stealing someone.
Tontas cares because he has a agenda and anything he can use to farm more hate for and he will make a video about it. Yeah, true. But Tontas just sucks off Tecton daily. Lamau. He used to. Just uploaded a video 2 hours ago. Bro, he uploads like 3 to 4 videos a day, man. Like a day. I mean, I could do that too if all I did was react Slop. You know? If all I did was react Slop, maybe I would be able to pump that many videos. But even then, I have a life. I couldn't do that like all the time, bro. Let me see. What should we watch now? You turn into Osmonball if you do that? I mean, why not? What's up, Viseroid? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. So, we watched those. Let's watch this about Wuthering Waves. This gacha has everything it needs. Why does it suck? I'm assuming it's Wuthering Waves because it has like the image there, but it might be about something else. I don't know. Let me see.
Wuthering Waves is my favorite gacha game. Its conflict is also my biggest recurring complaint about the story. So, when a comment under my last video argued that same conflict feels static because it's only running one main thread, and the fix is to—
Oh god. Oh god, the one main thread thingy. Jesus Christ. I've already went in a deep dive about that. I'm not talking about that anymore.
To add more, of course I paid attention. I've made that same case myself before, only this time, part of it didn't hold up.
Right diagnosis, wrong description.
Pritham's argument is that Wu's main conflict, stopping the lament, isn't actually the issue, and honestly, I think they're right about that part. Long-running stories keep their destination fixed all the time. Just like Pritham said in their comment, One Piece has been chasing Loftail for over 1,000 chapters. Nobody calls that stale. The goal staying still isn't the problem. Their actual argument is that Wua only has one conflict operating at that top level. One main thread everything routes back into. And their fix is, add more, run several—
Like, I'm new to the gacha space, but one thing I've noticed that Wua content creators seem way more focused on drama. That's true. Where are they, Sniper Wolf?
main level conflicts in parallel. The way a story like One Piece juggles the world government, the Void Century, and dozen personal arcs all moving independently. And look, I made a version of that.
I mean, look, where's my drawing pad? Here, let me put this aside. Let me put this bottle aside as well. There we go. Let's get my drawing tablet. I'm going to draw like what I'm trying to say, because it's difficult to put it into words. So here I go. Let me put a paint there. Do this. Do this. So, Wuthering Waves, or I mean, shit. So, most games have like a starting line, you know, they start here, right? So far so good. So they start the story, right? And then they branch out. They branch out like this, right? They branch out like this, then they branch out like this. You know? And then they branch out like this. Then they branch out like this. And then imagine like this is all part of the same story, right? This is all part of the same story that keeps connecting like each other. Like this connects this, and this connects to here, which connects to here, which this connects both. You know, so on and so forth. Like, and all of it connects to the finish line. All of it eventually connects to the finish line, right? All of it. Imagine this. Imagine this. So the story can go various different ways. And imagine you can go here, you can do, let me do this like smaller. So imagine when you start here, you can go back and forth on the story however you want. So you go here and you make a character's, you go through a character story, and through this character story then you do like the main story and so far and so forth. Then you do this story, you do this story, you know, you do all these stories and they all kind of connect with each other, right? And you can do all of them and in any order basically, and you will like, obviously some of them happened in the past, some of them happened in the future, but all of them will end up connecting like here in the end point. You understand? Like all of them. And they are all centered around like the same thing. Or not around the same thing, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Like it's one big world that works together. In Wuthering Waves is more like this. Finish line, finish line, finish line, finish line, finish line. And then here's the main point. So whenever you go through a story, it's like you can't go back. So go here and you finish here. So you teleport here and you go here. You finish Cheese's story. And then you go back and you have a little bit of the main story. You finish Lene's story and you go back here and you maybe go through a little bit of the main story. You finish Mornier's story and you go back and you have a little bit more of the the main story. You finish, I don't know, Hyuki's story, you finish Lucilla's story, etc., etc. And then in between you have a little bit of main story. And the end point is the main story. None of these stories, or most of them, have anything to do with the main story. Like, none. You have a sprinkle of main story, for example, in the Amiath one. Right? Where we get to know a little bit more about the past of Rover, but this style of storytelling is what Wuthering Waves has. Compared to something like, imagine this is more of what Genshin, HSR, Anfield, and something like Nikkei, OG Arknights. This is something like these games have. Like this kind of story. This is why all of these games have a story that feels better to like get invested to than Wuthering Waves. Because Wuthering Waves, this just becomes boring. Though Wuthering Waves has something that most of these don't have. For example, Wuthering Waves has something that OG Arknights, HSR, Genshin, Nikkei don't have, which is presentation. Wuthering Waves has very good presentation. And the cutscenes are like very well animated and so on and so forth. That's what uplifts like the Wuthering Waves storytelling. Other than that, it's boring as fuck. It's the same shit over and over again.
That argument myself before, so when I read it,
Who is what Bleach haters accuse Bleach of being for more than a decade?
my first reaction was just, yeah, that tracks. But it's not like Wuthering Waves is short on material.
I don't know,
here.
I never watched
Think
Bleach.
about what's actually sitting in this world already. Fractious, the Trenodians, two forces that could absolutely function as major independent conflicts in their own right. The pieces are already on the board. So maybe the problem isn't that we need more conflicts. Maybe the problem is we're not using the ones we already have. Start with Fractious. There's nothing thin about this faction. The lore is dense, the mystery is genuinely well built. If you go digging, there's a lot going on underneath. That's exactly what worries me, because all of it stays underneath. Every time Fractious actually shows up in the moving story, not the lore entries, the actual scenes we play through, they're the mastermind who's already 10 steps ahead. They do something, we arrive, they vanish through a portal, and then we wait. That's not nothing, but after 2 years, that pattern stops feeling like mystery and starts feeling like absence. Fractious has become the one immovable piece on a board that's supposed to keep changing, and when your primary antagonistic force stops participating in forward momentum, the momentum has nowhere else to come from except the original stories, which, don't get me wrong, are genuinely great, but the story can't run on side conflicts alone forever. Now, the Trenodians are a different problem, almost the opposite one. These are supposed to be cosmic, world-ending beings, and I don't think I've ever actually felt that. Not because the story doesn't tell me, it tells me constantly, but every time a Trenodian actually enters the active story, they get folded into Fractious' plan almost immediately. They stop being their own threat and start being a tool somebody else is using. Which means we've got one force that's dangerous but absent, and one force that's present but subordinate. Neither one is allowed to just be the conflict on its own terms in the scenes we're actually playing. And here's what's been...
So instead of having like, for example, I'll give the Genshin example again. So instead of having the three forces, Because Genshin has the like the harbingers, or what are they called? Yeah, the harbingers, or the fatui is what they are called, and the abyss. So Genshin has abyss force, the fatui, and they have like the normal people, which is like us, right? The good guys. So 3 forces, and they all operate like independently of each other. But here in Wuthering Waves, we are supposed to have 3 forces, but only 2 of them actually operate independently, which is us and the Fatui, not the Fatui, the Fraxilus. So the actual threat of the third force is not really there. It's just like a subordinate of the Fraxilus.
Nagging at me the most within Menzo right now, specifically looking for clues about the Grand Architect. That's the setup. That's supposedly the point of being here. So, genuine question. By the time this region wraps up...
Yeah. And after that story, like, Abraxas was never questioned. Like, why did Rover never question Abby about that?
Up, where do you actually think will be with that thread? Because my honest guess is nowhere. Some vague clue, another layer of mystery stacked on top of the mystery we already have. And I don't think we need more mystery right now. I think we need less of it sitting in the background and more of it actually showing up. Here's the thing though, we've seen this work once really well, Septimond, specifically Lupa's storyline, because if you go back and actually track that arc from start to finish, something is different about how it's built. There's this whole layered mystery, the double world, what's actually happening to Lupa, what's real and what isn't, and it does something WoA almost never does. It resolves inside its own arc. Not, here's a piece of the puzzle, wait 2 years for the next.
Everything resolves inside its own arc. That's the problem WoA has.
Next one. The mystery opens, it escalates, and by the end of that storyline, you actually understand what happened, which sounds like it should be normal. In this game, it's almost a novelty. And the reason it works isn't just pacing, it's Cristoforo. Because for that entire arc, Cristoforo isn't hiding behind a portal waiting for a cutscene. Well, technically he is, but he's also actively writing the story of Septimond in real time. Every twist in that mystery, every turn Lupa's situation takes, that's him doing it in front of us. That's the most active I've seen a Fractious antagonist be in this entire game. But, and I'm gonna hold my ground on this no matter what everyone else says, Cristoforo isn't even the best example from Septimond. Yuno is. And look, as much as I can't stand this guy, as much as I think he's kind of a terrible writer within his own story, he was...
Bro, Cristoforo, for me, is probably one of the worst written villains in the fucking entire genre of gacha gaming. I fucking hate him. I hate him. Like, it's so bad. The way that his stories like unfold. It's like, it's incredibly bad. Everything is fake. Everything is fucking fake. I hate it.
Was a genuinely great antagonist during that arc.
That's also why I disliked 3.x, because everything is inside of a dream space. Everything always happens inside of a fucking like sonorosphere or dream space like kind of bullshit. Like, most of the stories are not real. They're not happening in a real space. I dislike that. Like, for the love of fucking God, bring back, like, actual real stories. Like, in the real fucking world. Which is what they are doing in 3.5, if I'm not mistaken. I still have to play that, and I think I'm going to like it.
Those two things can both be true. Anyway, you know, I know some of you are going to disagree with me on this, because there was real discourse when her episode came out. It was introduced as part of the main story, not set aside as something optional, and a lot of people at the time thought that was the wrong call, that it should have been separated out, kept apart from the core narrative. I disagreed then, I still disagree now, because keeping her episode inside the main story was exactly the right choice. It needed to be there, front and center, as a direct consequence. Everyone forgetting her isn't some side detail you stumble onto if you go looking, it's the price paid for beating the boss, sitting right in the middle of the story where you can't avoid it. The complexity of that storyline doesn't live in some lore entry you have to go dig up, it lives in her, in what it costs her, specifically.
All of these stories with Shorekeeper, Carlotta, Zani, Juno, Augusta, Phoebe, who else? Lupa, Mornier, Galbrena. I mean, Galbrena, no. Galbrena makes sense being in the main story. Who else? Now the new ones like Amiath makes sense being in the main story. I don't really mind that. Lene, Mornier, Lucilla, Hyuki makes sense. But all of those that I've named, all of those stories, like the stories themselves, where they talk about the character's past and stuff like that, do not make sense to be on a fucking main quest. Shove it on a character quest. Bring character quests back and make the main story about the world, about what's actually happening, about stuff that is important to the world, important to the war, important to like the character development of Rover. Instead of making the main story quest a way to sell characters. That's just going to make your story bad. It's just bad. It's never directly connected to anything. Like every time there's a new story, or there was, I don't know how they are going to approach like 3.5 and forwards, but every time there was a new story from like 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, they have never had any connection whatsoever apart from Amiath. They are just like new stories. Where's the like the cohesiveness of the story? For example, if we go to something like Genshin, HSR, Arknights Enfield, OG Arknights, Nikkei, all those other games is like what I said here. All those other games, imagine this is 1.0, right? I don't have the tablet here, so I'm writing with the mouse. This is 1.0, and this is the end. Okay, I can't write with the mouse. Let me break this up. And this is the end of like 1.x. This is the beginning, start, right? And this is the end of 1.x. And I'm using 1.x as an example. It's not really like 1.x. The same as I'm going to do with WoWa. Like here I'm not really talking about 1.x. I'm talking about like 2.6 to like 3.4, some shit like that. But imagine is like 1.x. this is just the thing I'm referencing, right? This is like 1.0, right? And this is like the end of 1.x. Start. So 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 or 1.4. I was going to do the 1.4. Yeah, 1.4, 1.5. And imagine it ends at 1.6. So the main story is this, and the main content is this, which is not connected to the main story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not connected. It doesn't go over to the main story again. You have to like go back here and go to the main story. Then it progresses to nothing, and then we go back here to the main story. It progresses to nothing, and then we go back here to the main story again, and we play a little bit of the main story. It's that over and over again. Meanwhile, in other games, you can imagine this is like 1.1, this is like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, etc., etc. So it always progresses, right? It progresses. You can go through here, 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 all these stories to 1.2, which progresses to like here, 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 1.3, which progresses to 1.4, which progresses to 1.6, which ends the patch. You know what I mean? So everything that Wuthering Waves is doing, like with their main story quest, it's just boring. It's not cohesive. It doesn't follow a pattern. I mean, it follows a pattern, but it's a bad one. Right? It's like a special episode. It's a side quest. You're doing a side quest for the main story content. You're doing a character quest. They should stop doing that. And I think they are going to stop doing that with 3.5. I still haven't played it, but it seems that way. And if it is that way, that's a good thing.
Specifically as a character to be forgotten by everyone she loves.
So it doesn't progress 3.6. Here's still... I don't know. Bad handwriting again. Fuck you, bro. Gamification or Wuthering Waves. Gamification sometimes a good thing. Because Genshin is popular for a reason. You know, there are some things that other games could take from Genshin, as well as there are some things that other games should take from WoW. But you need to take like the good things, you know? You need to take the good things.
And it leaves...
Had a special episode with Jane, and player didn't like that because the lack of involvement from a proxy or something. Guess that's why they fit in Ethan's story in the main story.
There in the main...
I don't know about that, but for example, most events in something like Nikkei, I talk about my experience, don't even revolve around the main, don't even have the main character doesn't even know it happened. Know what I mean? Like, the main character doesn't always need to be involved. Now, if people didn't like it, I mean, maybe because the story itself wasn't that good, or people are just brain dead.
Main story where every player actually has to sit with it. That's the thing Fractious never does. The Trenodians don't do it either. Yuno's episode takes something that could have just been an abstract cost of victory and puts it inside one person where you actually have to sit with it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Septimont is flawless, because it isn't. I still wish we'd gotten to see more of what came after Yuno's episode.
Exactly.
Nobody regains their memory of her. We never really see how her relationships, her life, actually continue from there. that thread just kind of stops. And the ending of the arc...
Yeah, as he is saying, the threading just stops. Just stops abruptly. And then we go back to normality.
The whole Galbrena getting introduced in the final episode, suddenly pulling this massive amount of focus away from the protagonists we've been following. That felt rushed. Some of it landed, some of it really didn't. So no, Septimont isn't perfect, but it's the closest this game has ever come to solving the exact problem we've been talking about. And once you see why it works, the actual issue with the rest of the game becomes really clear. It's not that Fractious and the Trinodians lack complexity, it's that all of that complexity lives in the lore, in the background, in the mystery you have to go read about instead of the story you're actually playing through. And that's fine, usually, that's what world building is for. But when that background layer is where almost all your complexity lives, and your active antagonistic forces barely show up in the foreground, the story stops moving, not because it lacks ideas, but because none of those ideas...
If I wanted to read about lore in a video game, I would do so in something like Elden Ring. Not going to do that in a gacha game that literally has a main story quest. Like, something like Souls games. And maybe even some, like, other obscure, like, game type thing. Sure, you read about, like, the item descriptions and stuff like that, because the game doesn't really tell you anything in the main story. They don't really even have like a main story quest, you know. You just go about the game and stuff like that. You don't have like different episodes, different arcs, different stuff. So it makes sense that you learn about the lore through items and books and stuff like that. But a gacha game which has a main story quest? Hell nah, bro. Hell nah. I'm not playing like hours of a story quest for me to be like, yeah, this is shit, and someone to tell me, oh, you should go read the items for you to like know about the lore. Hell no.
Yes, are ever allowed to actually participate.
That's just fucking retarded.
Honestly, I didn't expect this video to end up here. I've been writing web novel for almost a decade now, but I'm about to self-publish.
People tend to confuse lore with plot. A deep lore is meaningless without a good plot. Exactly, bro. You know what the fuck you're talking about. You got it, bro. Absolutely. You're absolutely fucking 100% right. Horror games don't need main story quests, and presenting only bits of info can add to horror in horror games. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, but like a gacha game that has a main story quest, doesn't make sense not to have that. Like, what?
My first actual book
doesn't
series.
Make sense not to have like
a background antagonistic organization too.
The actual, like,
so the second I landed on complexity that stays in.
Obviously, they shouldn't hold your hand like for every little thing. I think that's something that Genshin suffered a lot. I don't know about now because I haven't played the game in like over a year, well over a year. But it's something that Genshin suffered a lot, which they held your hand too much. They over-explained things too much. Right? And that's also bad. Over-explaining and not explaining at all, they are both bad. Like in different ways, but they are both bad. So I dislike when you call out like Wuthering Waves not really like explaining things during the quest, or having like or having us watch like what's happening in the background with what's happening with other characters and stuff like that. They always say, oh, if you want like hand holding, go play Genshin. Bro, no one wants hand holding. People just want to know like what the fuck is going on, because the Black Shores just showed up here, Calcharo is here. We don't even know where the fuck he came from, and nothing is explained. Like, what? You know what I mean?
The background is the problem. I had this moment of, wait, am I about to make the exact same mistake? I had to actually stop and check. Here's the honest version. In my first book, that organization tries to kidnap a group of children, and for most of the book afterward, they are barely present. They're not actively hunting my protagonist through most of the story, which on the surface sounds like exactly what I just spent 2 acts criticizing. But then I looked at what that one action actually does. It doesn't just start the plot and disappear, it permanently changes the reality my protagonist is living in. He and one of the kidnapped children get dropped onto the surface world, a place filled with mythological monsters, actual danger, immediate survival stakes. The organization isn't hunting him, but something is. Every day he's down there, he's not safe. The threat isn't abstract, it's not a cloud in the sky waiting for a cutscene, it's right there. That's different from Fractious vanishing through a portal. My antagonists aren't stalling the story by staying mysterious, they kicked over a set of dominoes, and the entire rest of the book is what happens.
We forgot the whole thing why Rover went to Rinazita that figured out what's wrong with Abby. I don't even remember what happened with that. I think it got resolved, kinda, I don't know. I think it got resolved some way, but I don't remember. It has been so long, and I think it was like kinda shoved under the rug or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't even remember, bro. Got resolved when it got Amulet in Lupa's story. Oh, I see, I see.
As those dominoes fall. And then there's book 2. By now my protagonist actually knows where to find them. There's a base out there, a real physical place tied to that organization, and in book 2 he goes after it. Now, going after that base isn't even the main conflict of that book, that's something else entirely, something I'm not getting into here. Destroying that base is more of a side move, but it's not a small one, because he doesn't just do it for revenge, he does it knowing it paints a target on his back.
Like
He's deliberately provoking them into
story,
actively
so
hunting him. That's the part I think matters most, because that gives me an organic back and forth. The antagonists aren't just something my protagonist reacts to, and they're not something that reacts to him either. Not really. He forces the exchange into existence himself. He picks the fight before they're ready to bring it to him. And that's the piece I don't think Wuthering Waves ever lets happen. For whatever reason, the writers never really let Rover force Fractious' hand. Rover doesn't get to provoke them, corner them, make them respond on someone else's timeline.
You wanna know why? Because there's never a plan. There is never a plan, like ever. I don't think we ever sat down. I haven't played 20.5, so I'm talking everything before that, okay? Again. But I don't think we've ever sat down with another character or with a group of characters and went like, here's the plan, this is what you're going to do, like this, then this, then this, here's plan B, and so on and so forth. Everything is just like random bullshit go. Everything is just like, hey, I'm going there, cover my back. I'm going there, don't follow me. Oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this alone, or we're doing this together, and they just go. Like, there's not a plan. There's not a, we go here, then we go here, then we do this, and then we fight them here, and then we, like, counterattack them here, and we, like, there's nothing. Zero planning. That's why Rover never forces the Fractious' hand, because how the fuck is bro going to do that if there's never a plan? Like, a zero. Like, I keep bringing back games that I play because, well, they are good examples, okay? For example, Nikkei has a lot of planning. When going on missions, we have an objective, we know what we want, like always, and we actually like go through with our plan, and then have plan Bs if something happens, and so on and so forth. In Arknight's Edgefield, we always have that like talk, that discussion where they show the map and they're like telling us what we are going to do in this mission. You know what I mean? For example, so Rover is always reactive. We don't have like anything in mind. We just like go with the flow. Obviously, we're never going to force the Fraxus's hand because we're always reactive. It's two different story things. Yeah, that's why I'm explaining that Rover can't really force the Fraxus's hands. Because bro is saying like, oh, Rover never forces his Fraxus's hands, and I'm explaining why. Because Rover never has a plan.
It's always the other way. Fraxidus moves and everyone else reacts. The story is still waiting on the antagonist to act. Mine works the other way around. The protagonist is the one setting the pace. That's actually the core of it, I think. The real difference between my story and Wuthering Waves' story. In my story, the driving force is always the protagonist and the people around him. They're at the forefront every time. In Wuthering Waves, the driving force is supposed to be Fraxidus and the Trinodians. That's who's meant to be pushing the story forward, but they're not at the forefront nearly as much as they need to be. Given that job, not never, but not enough. It's not really about background versus foreground or how mysterious a faction gets to stay. It's about who's actually driving. If your antagonists are supposed to be the engine of the story, they need to show up like one. If they can't, the story needs someone else pulling that weight, and right now, Wuthering Waves only really has that in its regional arcs, not in the main conflict itself. Look, I haven't cracked this perfectly, I haven't even published the first book yet. I could be wrong about plenty of this once it's actually out in the world and being read by people who aren't me, but I think that's a more precise question than add more main conflicts. It's about who's actually in the driver's seat. So,
I love it when Rover says it's wuthering time, and wuthering the waves. True. It's bro starts wuthering all over the place.
I've landed.
That's my favorite time as well.
Wuthering Waves has every piece it needs already sitting on the table. Fraxidus, the Trinodians, all of it. The problem was never a shortage of ideas. It's that almost none of those ideas are ever let out of the background. Septimont proved it's possible. Cristoforo showed what active antagonism actually looks like. And you know, she's the proof that consequence hits harder when it lives in a person instead of a lore entry. Now I just want to see them do it again, on purpose, not as an accident of one really good regional arc. So, I'll turn it back to you. Who do you think should actually be driving Wuthering Waves' main conflict? Should Fraxidus and the Trinodians finally start pushing the...
I mean, the main driver should be always a mix. It should always be a back and forth, right? Because if it's always like someone, if it always is like the same person, it becomes boring. For example, we have three main forces, right? 1, 2, 3. So the Rover, Fraxidus, and the Trinodian, right? We have three main forces. We should always have like these two fighting. So Fraxidus and Rover are always fighting, right? So sometimes Rover discovers the Fraxidus plan either accidentally or he like actually goes after them, whatever, and fucks their plans, right? And some other times the Fraxidus go on with their plans without Rover noticing, and then Fraxidus attacks Rover. And then Rover has to defend, right? So we should always have this back and forth between these two. And then once a patch, or once like a big patch, we should have the third force that not even... I mean, Fraxidus is trying to control and Rover is trying to impede, right? But this third force is stronger than Fraxidus and quote-unquote stronger than Rover, right? So it's a three-dimensional thing. We shouldn't always have Fraxidus be the driving force, and we shouldn't always have the Threnodian be the driving force, or Rover. We should have like a back and forth and plus a third force, maybe even a fourth force, who knows. But this is how it should kind of operate, you know, for it to be like a lot healthier. And that's just my opinion. You know, that's just my opinion. That's just what I think, personally. I have a video. You have completed chapter... No, I have not completed chapter 47 and 48 of Nikkei. I plan to do it on stream. I have a video talking about the story in these gacha games and why they are overhyped as heck. You know? Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Minus got to revenue. Let me see. And I'm going to let it play for you guys for a little bit while I take a small break. Gacha stories are overrated. Okay, I was like using this dog shit ass avatar right here, but whatever. But let's see. I'm going to leave this playing and I'll be right back. I'm going to take a small break. Let me put this here so that people that come in like know. But this is more or less my take on like gacha stories and well, so on and so forth. So I'll be right back. People mix up storytelling, lore, pacing, and presentation like they're all interchangeable. And the second you criticize one part of a story, like the pacing or presentation, people act like you committed a felony. If you say the pacing is bad, they go, yeah, but the lore is amazing. If you say the storytelling is weak, they respond with, what you mean, this game has so much lore. And I'm like, cool, but that's not what I said. People don't judge the whole thing. They just highlight a peak, one arc, one scene, or one character. And then they pretend that fixes everything around it. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. When I say a specific gacha story is average or just fine, I'm not talking about one patch. I'm talking about the full thing. The road you have to walk to get there. And in most gacha games, the road is rough. If I rate something like Resident Evil, I'm not rating one cutscene or one boss. I'm rating the whole story, the pacing, the consistency, the build-up and the payoff. That should apply to gacha games, but it doesn't. Instead, people act like if version 3.1 or 6.0 drops one good arc, then suddenly the entire game always had a great story. No, one good arc does not erase hours of dragging dialogue, it does not fix weak pacing, it does not fix bad lore, and it does not fix the fact that many players won't even reach that good part. And then you get the classic line, it gets better later. Okay, but how much later? Because that matters. If you are trying to have someone play your game because you think the story is great, and then they tell you they are not liking the story, saying it gets better later, it's not something anyone ever wants to hear. if I have to sit through dozens of hours of content I don't care about just to reach one good chapter, that is not a strength, that is a big ass flaw. And just skip it isn't a solution either, because then the emotional payoff doesn't work. That's the trap. These games want the big emotional moments, but they don't always earn them. And to be clear, I'm not saying these games never have good stories. They do. The problem is consistency. People remember the peaks and ignore the dead air between them. And that applies across the board. Hoyo, Kuro, Hypergriff, all of them. They all have dragging sections. They all have filler filling patches. They all have moments where the story just stalls. This is where these companies really lose me. For example, Hoyoverse, because the issue isn't always the plot. Sometimes the lore is interesting, sometimes the ideas are genuinely cool. It's the delivery. The characters standing around talking and talking and talking, shot, reverse shot, one character explains something, another repeats it, a third reacts to it, and the scene keeps going long after it should have ended. The pacing is horrible, it feels bloated, it feels stretched, and it feels like the game is scared of just getting to the fucking point. And this ties into something people constantly fail to separate. A game can have good lore and bad storytelling. A game can have good moments and bad pacing. And a game can have a strong arc and weak overall structure. These are not contradictions, they are different layers. And gacha communities are terrible at separating them. Take Wuthering Waves. At launch, I gave it a lot of patience. I assumed it was building towards something, setting up its world, laying groundwork. And at first, it was fine, not great, but fine. Then more patches came, and the structure became clear. The story isn't really moving forward in a strong, cohesive way. It's revolving around whatever character is currently being pushed. That's the issue. Not that character stories are bad, not that episodic storytelling is bad. But when your main narrative bends itself around banner cycles, the story stops feeling like a world and starts feeling like a marketing loop. Every patch becomes, here's a new character, here's their trauma, here's the emotional moment, and the climax. Next patch, you repeat all that over again. Some of those stories are good, but that does not mean the overall story is good. Because when you stitch it all together, it doesn't feel cohesive. It feels segmented. It feels like it resets too often, and it feels like it struggles to move forward naturally. And this is exactly why I push back against the latest patch proves it is amazing argument. No, it proves that that patch might be amazing, that's it. One great chapter does not rewrite everything that came before it. And a lot of players never even reach those highs. They burn out earlier, they get bored earlier, they hear it gets better one too many times and just stop playing. So yes, the road matters, the build-up matters, and the consistency matters. Another big issue is how restricted these stories feel. A lot of these games, especially Chinese gacha, have this very noticeable ceiling on how characters are allowed to express themselves. They don't sound messy enough, they don't sound raw enough, they don't feel human enough. Anger feels controlled, tension feels sanitized, and dialogue feels filtered. Nobody really snaps, nobody really crashes out, nobody feels as sharp or chaotic as they should. And when that happens across multiple games, it starts blending together. That's part of why something like Nikkei stands out. Not because it's perfect, but because it feels more natural. Characters talk like people, they sound more direct, the emotional flow feels less restricted. And that makes a massive difference. Because story isn't just what happens. Hell yeah, Nikkei above all, always. How it feels when it's happening. Then you have pacing issues tied to tone.
I see.
A lot of these games don't understand actual tonal breaks. They think slowing down equals giving you breathing room.
True.
Spoiler, it doesn't. Switching to a T scene with the same slow dialogue isn't a break. It's just dragging in a different location. There's no real contrast, there's no real comedic relief, no rhythm shift that actually resets the tension. So instead of the story breathing, it just becomes exhausting. And all of this leads to the same conclusion. Most gacha stories are overrated as full packages. Not because they never do anything good, but because people judge them based on isolated highs instead of the overall story experience from start to finish. If a patch is good, so you understand my stance on these like gacha stories here? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to like explain here? Like, I think it's very well explained. I'm very proud of this video, even though it never took off. It has 200 views. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, if you guys want to watch the rest of it, you can go here and watch the video. Maybe give it a like, maybe tell your favorite gacha drama tuber to react to it. Who knows? And well, that's about it. This I just played this to fill out some space while I was gone. Let's get here and maybe we react to a small video because I do need to leave. I have some stuff planned for today. It has been it was a 3-hour stream. I think that's pretty good. Let's see, what can we watch like more? Like a small video. Let me see. Clunky effects, combat but articulated. What's this?
Wuthering
It's 21 minutes. I kind of wanted something smaller because I do need to leave in a little bit. Or maybe just pretty fun from small channel. Let's see. Let's talk about gacha game stories. I'll go watch it later. Thank you, bro. Thank you for going and watching that video. Let me see.
Gacha games are controversial. I know. Shocker.
Yeah, they are.
From their monetization tactics to their gameplay loops, gacha games have attracted a lot of criticism over the years, especially as the genre has become more mainstream.
A little faster.
At the same time, it is an industry that is rapidly catching up to the other giants of the gaming industry. From creating intricate worlds that are both beautiful and dreadful, to offering engaging gameplay systems, amazing lore, and memorable character designs, gacha games have a lot to offer for the fans of the genre. With the advent of the 3D open world gacha games,
gacha games do have a lot to offer, especially a perpetual, like, ongoing story that never ends. Because, for example, if you like reading manga, if you like watching anime, something like Dragon Ball, something like One Piece, you like these kind of things that always go on and on and on and on and never ends, and it's always fresh. It's a good thing. Some people say, oh, it's a bad thing, but it's good to have like something that you can always fall back to and something that you can keep on playing and keep experiencing, like new stories and stuff like that.
Following
I think that's a good thing.
Genshin Impact, the genre exploded in popularity, but it also attracted a great deal of criticism regarding the quality of its writing. For a gacha game, it is very difficult to rely on the story alone in order to survive, with only a few exceptions. One of the main criticisms is that many modern gacha games appeal to a broader audience by embracing power fantasies directed mainly at young adults that are searching for escapisms. In contrast, many older gacha stories were anything but power fantasies. As a result, some modern gacha games tend to pull their punches when it comes to taking players on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, this is more of like a Chinese gacha game problem, because if you go and play a non-Chinese gacha game, you have like a bigger range of emotions and a bigger range of like, a bigger range of like actual depth in the storytelling.
So in this video, I want to explore 3 story moments from 3 known open-world gacha games and present what I consider to be some of the most haunting moments in the genre. The moments I will talk about come from Honkai Impact 3rd, Punishing Grey Raven, and Reverse 1999. I chose those games because they are well regarded for the quality of their stories, and because they are also some of my personal favorite gacha games. Besides, this video is also an excuse for me to ramble about them. From here on out, we are entering spoiler territory, so you have been warned.
Good. The thing is, I don't really know about like these games. I don't really know about like these games, so
in regard to Honkai Impact 3rd, many people will
can't
bring
really
up Chapter
comment
9
on it.
with the death of Himeko as the main selling point of the game's story, but Chapter 11 EX is equally deserving of attention. In this short chapter, we are dealing with Kiana's mental state after the re-emergence of the Harsher of Void, which led to Himeko's death. Now, the entire story behind the Harsher of Void is a long one, and you can read about it in the second Eruption manga, but in short, the previous Harsher of Void...
But isn't Himeko death like towards the end of the game?
dies at the end of this manga, and Otto, the main antagonist, obtains the Gem of Void and
like we fall back to, oh, it gets like good, you know, not to see Nikkei in those story in gacha videos.
K423,
yeah,
Kiana, who is one of multiple clones.
Because people refuse to play Nikkei because they think it's a Gunner game. That's the sad reality. It's just something that I've come to kind of accept, because people just refuse to play it because they see the character designs and they're like, oh, this is a Gunner game, the story is going to be bad. It's not really like that, because Nikkei has been able to survive for so long because the story is good. People start playing because, well, reasons, but they keep playing because the story is actually insanely good. Like, from start to finish. I personally haven't felt a single time that the story was bad. Like, not a single time. Meanwhile, in all these other gacha games, I felt like there were dragging chapters. There were patches where the story was just bad. And I mean the main story. You know? Nikkei doesn't have a bad moment in the main story. Not a single one. And it comes with the reason for that, it's mostly because they don't do a main story quest like every patch. Like, the main story quest, it's basically every 3 months or some shit like that. Every 2 or 3 months, they make a new main story quest, and it's not every single patch. And I think that helps them like actually cook with their main story. Their character designs are shit. That is what you get putting Jiggle Slider to the max. I don't think you've actually seen like Nikkei character designs, because if you have, you wouldn't be saying that.
K423 lived her life as
you probably saw some designs like Volume and some other one or some other skin, and that's why you have that opinion. Because if you actually saw like the majority of Nikkei designs, you wouldn't be saying that.
The real Kiana Kaslana, growing up as a happy and cheerful teenager until a series of events caused her to lose control. Siren's consciousness residing within the Gem of Void took over and transformed Kiana into the Harsher of Void, forcing Himeko to sacrifice herself in order to stop HOV and save Kiana. So now we are 3 months after Himeko's death. Honkai beasts keep appearing, and natural disasters related
Agnes
to
has a
Honkai
main
continue
story
to occur.
every 6 months
Kiana
or so.
is currently
Yeah.
in Arc City, while the Hyperion crew desperately searches for her. Kiana's mental state is a complete mess.
I mean, a lot of Nikkei's designs aren't even sexualized. I can boot up Nikkei and I can show you. I think I'm going to skip this video. I understand the overall point of this video. If you guys want to have a watch, I recommend going there. I'm going to post it here in the live chat. I think it's a good watch, but I don't think it's a very good react. Because personally, I don't really know. I don't really play any of these games. You know, I never played Honkai Impact 3rd. And bro is just like explaining why these stories are good. I mean, sure, I understand why, because they do the same thing that probably Nikkei does, and not the things that these big gacha games do, you know? Also, if you didn't know, Nikkei has a collab with Persona 3 right now. The more you know.
Goddess of Victory.
So let's see some of Nikkei's designs, which are like super cool. I mean, a lot of them have big taras, but other than that, let me see. So we have Helm, which is like an older character. She's fine. This is a skin. This is the main, the actual real skin that we see in the story. She looks fine, not really sexualized. Then we have her. She looks completely fine, not really sexualized, as you can see. This would be something that completely fit into like something like Wuthering Waves, for example. It's not bad. Then we have Killer Wife. We have Red Hood, which her design is just cool as fuck, right? We have Little Mermaid, which is not really sexual. If this is like super sexualized, what does that make of Countervella in Wuthering Waves? Okay, this is a bit much, but you know. We have Snow White, which is like giga cool. Have like Litter, pretty cool character. Let's see, this is a summer character. This is a summer character. This is one of the most important characters in the story on the second anniversary, if I remember correctly, 2.5 anniversary. Nayuta is just cool.
To think I should be so gladdened to stand by thy side.
Like, is this sexualized? I don't know. Probably not. Have this. Okay, this is a skin. This is the actual character. This would fit something like Genshin, Wuwa, GZZ easily. Have this, just a cool uniform. I mean, if this is sexualized, so is Chisa. We have Eve. We have Snow White. Not Snow White, Cinderella. Sorry. I mean, this is just a cool character. She's a hero. This one is giga cool. I really like this character. She's covered head to toe. This is the OG Snow White. Is this sexualized?
We do not deserve to return to the surface.
Doesn't look to me.
I am an untraceable hacker.
Exia. Modernia. I've seen worse in like other gacha games.
So, eyes on me.
Guillotine. Okay, this is just a bunny girl. Another school uniform, if this is sexualized, so is Chisa.
Am I a hero?
Drake.
That's a tough one.
She's just a villain. And even her skins are like, this is just funny, bro.
Fine, I guess that's...
And she has a supercar. What else? This is the new Neon, which is just cool.
My firepower. Right now.
Okay, this is the new Cinderella. This. Okay, this is a bit much. This is also like, come on. But these characters don't really show much in the main story, which is we have a maid, have like a dog girl. Okay, this is a summer skin. This is a collab character. This is Privity.
Staring at me like that.
Is this like too crazy? The only things that go crazy in this game are like the summer character skins, which are not part of the main story quest, and actual skins. For example, this skin, which is not part of the main story quest and doesn't even show up anywhere else, right? Those are the only things that are kind of crazy. Everything else is fine. For example, look at Grave.
Now,
She's just a muscle mommy. So, well, that's that. So hopefully I made you see the light. One of people joking, well, by the all games collabing with Persona, iOS after, really? I mean, Wuthering Waves has collabed with Persona. So, no. My sexual life is like Mona from Genshin. She's an astrologist, but dressed like someone work at the Red District. Same as Rosaria. I mean, sure. For example, let me see. We have 3 characters that are from Mafia, which is Moran.
The Peony Association never engages.
She's from Mafia. Kinda. We have... Let me see. Where is she? Sakura. She's also from Mafia.
If you want the support of the organization,
I think they dress accordingly. And we have Rosanna. Which, let me look for her. Rosanna. Do I not have her? Do I not have her? Here, no, I do not have her. She's also from, like,
if
Mafia.
words fail, then your only recourse is physical force. That's
Don't pull Mihara. Yeah, I'm not going to show Mihara, bro. Don't worry. I do have her. I don't even know where she is. Let's see. Yeah, this one goes crazy. But she doesn't really show in the main story. But a lot of Nikkei characters aren't really like sexualized. Like if you have the normal skin. Or especially the ones that show in the main story quest. For example, Privity. Let me check the pilgrims. Let me see, how the fuck do I... Here. Pilgrim. So these are the pilgrims. These are the characters that sell most in Nikkei, by the way. So you would expect them to be like the most insanely gunnery characters. Right? You would expect that, right? So,
if you have a wish,
this is a pilgrim. Okay, this is a skin, but this is a pilgrim. No, not this one. This one. Red Hood, which is my favorite. This is a pilgrim. This is a pilgrim. This is a pilgrim. Original skin. This is a pilgrim. So is this. So is this. So is this. This is a summer skin. Okay, this one is a bit much. This is a summer skin. Doesn't count. This is a pilgrim. This is a pilgrim. This is a pilgrim. And so is this. 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 And so on and so forth. You know? Like, most of these characters that show up in the main story quest that are important aren't really all that gunnery. The only gunnery characters, like heavily like tailored to like gunner, are mostly not part of the main story quest. Let me see. And who should I show even? Like Velvet is not part of the main story quest, for example.
Being a maid is more boring than I thought. I guess I'm glad you're here, Master.
Because it would be funny that some of the characters I would think are decent are later character shown. What? Are these in order? No, no, no. These are not in order of release. Can I even check in order of release? I don't think so. I don't think so. Send people that complain about them to a beach? True! I think the character designs are... Wikipedia, you can? Oh, you can? Filter... I don't think you can, though. Attacker, defender, supporter. Or are they, like, already in order of release? No, they are not. They are alphabetical order. Or not. I mean, they are not in order of release because Rapid Red Hood is here. By manufacturer, company, Elysium. Oh. I see. I see. They are by manufacturer. I see, I see. So... you see this one. Or let's go back and see, like, by order. Thought Goon God has everyone? No. So Privity, Signal, Polly, Miranda, Breed, Solin, Diesel, Vesti, Enwa, Guillotine, Maiden, D, Helm, Neon Blue Ocean, it's a summer skin, Mast, Helm Aquamarine, it's a summer skin, Marciana, Corey, Privatine, Unkind, Unkind Maid. This is a skin as well. Have all these characters. Phantom is one of the best designed characters in Nikkei. Like, I love the aesthetic of this character. This one is crazy. This one is really crazy. I cannot show the... Can I? No, I'm not showing. I'm not showing. May get banned. But those are skins. You can, don't worry, can I? That's that. Arcana. Arcana's pretty cool.
Promise to keep it that way.
She's recent. Sora. What are you buying? What are you selling? She gives that kind of vibe. The tactical upgrade. Ninja Thief. This one is crazy. I wanted to pull for this one, I couldn't. I don't think I got it. Did I? I don't even know what characters I have. No, I didn't get her. I did not get her. But you see what I'm getting at. Most heavily gunnery characters are mostly either skins or like, yeah, they're mostly skins. Can I get like the collab character? Let me see, with one pull. No, sad. But anyway, I will be playing Nikkei's main story quest tomorrow. If you are interested, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out. And if you've never played Nikkei before, maybe you would want to like show up and maybe like have a sneak peek at the story. Maybe you'll be interested in it, maybe not, who knows. But either way, I'll be ending the stream now. Thank you everyone that showed up. Thank you Arl, or I mean fuck you Arl, fuck you Magnus. Thank you Viz for showing up. Thank you Nanakomatsu. Zom was here. Biggie Yitos was here. And the Treen. Mark was here. Freaksari was here. And everyone else. Rest well. I'm not going to rest. I'm going to the gym. Watch you play chapters. I have some streams playing Nikkei that I've done before. Feel free to check those out if you are interested, but I will be streaming tomorrow playing chapter 47 and chapter 48. Hopefully I managed to finish those. So see you guys next time.